Sure. Hello everyone, I'm Ian Nicholas. I'm joined by Dylan Pescatore here, and it is senior night for the Rams on this crisp, a little bit cool Friday Night Lights action here in mid-November. It's a big game, Dylan. The Wilton Warriors, with a 6-2 record, come into town up against an identical record in the 6-2 New Canaan Rams. This is the biggest game of each of these team seasons. This will be a huge factor in the Class L playoff push. Really, whoever wins tonight could get that last seed in the Class L playoff. So let's kick it off, Dylan, with the quarterbacks and the man who has guided the Rams to this 4-game winning streak after starting off just 2-2, Drew Pine.
Drew Pine, Notre Dame commit. Guy has been electric these past 2 games. He's had some issues with interceptions, Ian, throughout the year. But the last 2 games, he's gone 9 touchdowns, 0 picks for the last 2. And he looks to keep that up tonight against a huge defense in the Wilton Warriors. A quarterback for the Warriors is a guy like Jimmy O'Brien.
Jimmy O'Brien's had a very good season for Wilton. Look, they haven't played the best competition, but he's put up good numbers in these games. Over 65% completion rate and a 16-8 touchdown to interception ratio. He's put in the work. This offense has playmakers we'll dive into a little bit later, but he's up for the challenge. This is the biggest game of his varsity career. Drew Pine's been here before. It's going to be very interesting to see how O'Brien, a solid quarterback, responds to the pressure here at Dunning Field. And who's a guy who's going to have to be chasing after O'Brien all night to slow this dynamic Wilton offense down?
Well, you're talking about a man named Chris Caratu, senior, who's going to get celebrated here in a few minutes. But as we learned that Matt Rigione, also a captain, will be sitting out tonight with a concussion injury. But Chris Caratu has been quiet these past 2 games after a 5-sack performance against Staples 3 weeks ago. I expect him to step up big tonight as Rigione is out.
And meanwhile, he's going to have to slow down these Wilton playmakers. Jimmy O'Brien's a really good quarterback, but he gets a lot of help, Dylan, from his star running back, Drew Phillips, and his star wide receiver, Kyle Hizzy. Hizzy, number 15, a guy that Coach Marinelli said we must contain. They have been torched by some big receivers. He's another big guy. It's going to be very interesting to see how the 1-2 punch running back and receiver is going to match up against a New Canaan Rams defense that allowed 28 points up against a struggling Trumbull team last week. It's going to be really interesting, Dylan. We are just a few moments away from kickoff. We'll send it right back up to the booth, and we'll see you soon for a terrific matchup. New Canaan versus Wilton. you're on.
We're back. And we're back. New Canaan Rams against the Wilton Warriors. We are here.
It is a great game for football, Dylan. Friday Night Lights. Both teams are 6-2, and this is both teams' biggest game of the season. Welcome you up to the booth. I'm Ian Nicholas, joined by Dylan Pescator. We've had a couple of, let's say, not interesting games over the last few weeks in New Canaan. We have some lesser FCAC competition, Dylan, and obviously the Rams are finally hitting their stride, and they're getting some much-needed wins. But tonight is their biggest challenge. Maybe not their biggest challenge, but in order to make it farther and farther, to make that postseason run like they did last year, like after the slow start, they have to beat Wilton tonight. You know, this is a Wilton team, but Coach Marinelli said they have a few really good players, but New Canaan's also got a few really good players themselves. Who's your player of the game prediction?
My player of the game prediction, as it has been wrong every game this year, it feels like.
Why not?
My player of the game prediction
throw it out
tonight is Dean Ciencio, number 21, cornerback on the Rams. I feel he's going to have a huge game. We heard Coach Marinelli told us that Zach LaPolice will be covering number 15, Kyle Hizzy, the top wide receiver on the Warriors. But I feel that Ciencio, while covering the number 2, will be flying across the field, making plays, and I predict one interception tonight for Dean.
That will be very interesting. You know, when we talked to Coach Marinelli, he had nothing but praise for senior co-captain Zach LaPolice, the corner that starts alongside Dean Ciencio and also stars as a superstar wide receiver and as a great return man with the punt return TD on the year. And Dylan, I'm going to turn it back to you on this one. When we talked to Coach Marinelli, he mentioned how he didn't even expect Zach LaPolice to be this good, filling in the shoes of a guy like Quentin O'Connell. He's not the new Quentin O'Connell, but he's a mega-boosted Zach LaPolice. He's putting up video game-like numbers this year. How have you liked how the Rams have used him in the offense, gotten him involved, and how he's been so productive? What have you seen on tape?
You compare, as the Rams are walking out now in their black uniforms, you compare Q and Zach, and they're two completely different players. Q is an offensive weapon where no one could stop that man. And then you have Zach, a quick, speedier guy who's not going to overpower the cornerback game, but he's going to speed past him. We've seen him on the shovel pass a lot this year. We've seen him on defense playing man-to-man coverage against the number 1 wide receivers for the other teams. He's just a triple threat player who plays offense, defense, and special teams, and there's no one like him on this team. Coach Marinelli told us that he didn't expect this out of Zach, and they didn't really know how to use him because he had some dropping issues earlier in preseason, but he's turned into this budding star, and this is a player that can carry the Rams to the playoffs.
And Dylan, as we just heard the great Bob Vanderhayden say, here come the Rams. It is senior night. This is the last game for the New Canaan boys class of 2020 to establish themselves on Dunning Field. We talked to Coach Marinelli. Who knows if for some way they get wins in each of the next 2 games, we could see him back on Dunning Field for a playoff game, but most likely that's not going to be the case. You're an athlete yourself. I used to play football here in New Canaan. I'm going to ask you here, when you know it's your last game of the season, it's your last game on your home turf, or maybe the diamond for you, how does it make you feel? Do you feel like there's added pressure to show out in a game where you know this is the last time you're going to have to make a chance to make an impression on your family, your friends, and the fans here in New Canaan?
Well, I was lucky because in my last game on the diamond last year, going into this year, but last year we actually went on the road for our last game. So we were actually on a 5-game win streak, which took away the pressure of playing for your last game of the season, saying, okay, I'm going to have to wait this 7 amount of months until I'm playing again on a real field. So I wouldn't say the pressure is there for the Rams to play their quote-unquote last game because they've played a lot of great games on the road, especially the game at Staples, which I felt was one of their best games played this year, especially in the second half.
And, ever since that second half of the Wilton game, Dylan, this team has just been on another level. New Canaan, after starting off just 2-2, they've won 4 in a row, albeit not up against the best competition. But, Fairfield, Ward, Staples, those are some solid teams. Brian McMahon, not so much. But Trumbull put up a really good fight. And as you mentioned a lot last week, better than their record suggests. Meanwhile, Wilton is on a 3-game win streak themselves after starting 3-2. So very similar teams. Really, a lot of comparisons to be made between both of them. Both have some star players. We got Drew Pine here, New Canaan, Zach LaPolice, Chris Caratu. Matt Rigione is going to be out tonight, unfortunately, with a concussion, one of their star pass rushers and senior co-captain. And something we didn't get to touch on in the open is the fact that the big Willie Perrone, over 320 pounds, already a star at left guard for the Rams, the anchor of this young offensive line, which is the best offensive line in the SCAC metric-wise. But he's going to be playing a lot of defense tonight, something he hasn't done a lot this year because of Rigione's injury. Tell us about what impact you think Big Willie's going to have on the defensive side of a ball up against this team in Wilton that can run the ball really well.
I don't think it's that much of a difference switching from Rigione to Perrone just because of the sheer size of Perrone. Ian. From Rigione, a captain on this team, and a guy who stuffs the run better than anyone. We say that maybe he doesn't get to the passer enough, but he does get his pressures on the run. He feeds on stopping the run, and that's exactly what 320-pound Will Perrone will do just because of his sheer size. He's coming off that edge at the end, Ian, and he's not a guy who's going to come around the end and rush the quarterback that much. He's a guy who's going to get in the middle, make that hole that much smaller, and end the running game of Drew Phillips and the Wilton Warriors.
Yeah, Dylan, New Canaan and defensive coordinator Chris Silvestri are really going to have to rely on their younger guys tonight for a bit of a pass rush. Obviously, you have Chris Caratu, who has 11 sacks on the year. He's been a bit quiet over the last 2 games, but they haven't needed him to play at that superstar level over the past 2 games to get a win. But you also have guys like Eddie Gallagher, a sophomore that Coach Marinelli talks very fondly of. He could get some playing time tonight. And the 2 junior starters, and Alex Chur and Ethan Shallon, are guys who do their job, stick in their gaps, and make plays in the run game. And maybe, who knows, maybe Coach Silvestri and his crazy blitzes, as Coach Marinelli put it, could be effective at getting to quarterback Jimmy O'Brien.
And Ian, the pressure that New Canaan will get as they're going to enter the field for the coin toss will be off the outside. A player that stood out to me last week was Ethan Shallon, number 50 on this Rams team, because of how he could have that speed from the outside. And the creativity of Coach Silvestri's blitzes will have to get even more creative tonight because they know they're not going to get that much pressure inside. They're going to have to blitz from the outside.
And the Rams, 4 healthy captains. Some big news for 2 of those guys. Number 4, Drew Guida, the Swiss Army knife here, just committed to play Tafts. For Tafts, he's going to be a football and lacrosse player up there in Massachusetts. Meanwhile, Jack Finnegan, number 2, great on the football field, a terrific captain and inside linebacker. He's committed to play lacrosse at Utah. So those 2 seniors are going to get their chances to make big plays. Zach LaPolice is also drawing some interest on the football field. He'll most likely get an offer. And then, of course, Drew Pine is heading to Notre Dame next year. So this is a team that lost a heck of a lot of talent last year when you talk about college talent. You know, and not even touching on all the guys. Jack Conley, Jack Stewart, and Garrett Braden, obviously the big D1 losses. And here are the Rams as we are just 2 minutes away from kickoff. We'll send you to the national anthem in just a few moments. And then one of the biggest games of the year for either of these teams as the Rams and the Warriors battle it out for one of the last spots in that Class L playoff, Dylan. You know, we talked to Coach Marinelli today, and he said no game is ever a must-win in my mind. We just play games like we usually do. It's going to be very interesting. Ian Nicholas and Dylan Pescatore and all of us here at NCTV will be back in just a few moments as we will send it to the national anthem.
So proudly we hailed as the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the
Thank you very much, ladies. Well done.
What a terrific rendition of our national anthem, Dylan, as the players are extremely hyped and extremely ready for this big-time matchup. You know, Wilton football, they're right around the corner, just about 20 minutes away, and you never really hear them in the conversation. But finally, this is the first year, Dylan, that this Wilton team has not run the wishbone offense. You know, they've moved to the spread, led by quarterback Jimmy O'Brien, a senior who's put up a solid 2-to-1 touchdown-interception ratio and over a 65% completion rate this year. And this team, led by head coach E.J. Denuzio, just looks like a brand new squad. You know, we've heard a lot of reports I read on, Rudin Report. This is the first time Wilton's played in a game so late in the season that actually had playoff implications. So this is a team that is really well assembled, well coached. But, talk about Coach Marinelli for a second and just how much his experience plays into this one.
The experience of Coach Marinelli with playoff implications that his team has been there before, he knows what to say. We'll see if Wilton's up to the task.
And it's Nick Radman, who was a Rudin Report Player of the Week candidate last week, sends it deep. And on the Wilton return, they will get it out to roughly the 30-yard line. A little bit of pushing and shoving at the end of that one. Maybe spot him at the 32, and Jimmy O'Brien and this Wilton offense, who's been really good all year long, are going to trot onto the field for the first time tonight.
Ian, this Wilton offense has been very underrated this year, and I'm very excited to see what they do on a road primetime game at Dunning Stadium. There's no better test for Jimmy O'Brien, quarterback of the Warriors, and we'll see how he performs when the lights are on.
We're going to start here in a 5-wide set with 4 receivers bunched up to the top of your screen. Let's see what they got here. O'Brien's going to look left, and he will connect with his big number 1 wide receiver. The man, the myth, the legend, Kyle Hizzy, a guy who Coach Marinelli spoke very highly of. And he also mentioned this, that Zach LaPolice is going to be draped on him all night. So the Rams' star receiver is also going to be draped up against their best receiver. That's going to be a gain of 6. They'll set him up at the 39-yard line. Man in motion here for Wilton. And that ball mishandled from Jimmy O'Brien. Luckily, he jumps on it quickly, but a big mistake from the senior quarterback pushes him all the way back to the 26-yard line and will set up an unfortunate 3rd and long.
I spoke about how the lights are on and the pressure's on too, Ian. We'll see how he reacts. Jimmy O'Brien, first step back. Now he's in a long 3rd down and 15 situation.
O'Brien's fumbled the ball 3 times this season. He's lost only 2 of them, so not too big of an issue for the senior. But it's a little cold, not too cold. The weather's pretty nice, so you can put the blame on him on that one. It's going to be 3rd and 15, a loss of 11 on the muffled snap. They're going to go bunch formation to the right. O'Brien, pressure comes, and he will go down. Terrific play from the Rams pass rush. It is the senior inside linebacker, Andrew Morris, who's draped all over him. That's one of those crazy blitzes, and it works to perfection.
Ian, I talked about how the outside pressure is going to be the key for the Rams, but that was the inside pressure. Along with Caratu, Morris went right up the middle. He beat his man, and he got to the quarterback. Now Wilton will punt.
It's going to get a second look at that one. It's going to be a punt here. It's a high boot and a pretty good one, but it takes an unfavorable bounce, and it will be fielded inside the 45-yard line of Wilton territory. So we've seen this new Canaan offense has finally hit their groove, Dylan, in the last few games, and especially we've seen whenever teams give them a short field, it becomes oh so easy to score.
Ian, this is the best position that New Canaan could ever dream of. They're on the other side of the field already, so the 43-yard line of Wilton. Their offense hasn't been seen yet. Wilton doesn't know what's coming. I mean, there's no better position for Pine and Wise, along with the other wide receivers, such as LaPolice and Morton and Sweeney, to be in right now.
They will officially start at a 43-yard line, and a big boost for this offense. Right guard Teddy DeClue is back in action after missing the last 2 games with a concussion. Their star junior inside lineman is back for Drew Pine & Co. 1st and 10. Johnny Wise is back as well, the superstar running back, on his first run of the game. Get the 1st down and more. Giving him a solid pickup of 12 yards up to the 30-yard line, 1st down.
And Ian, this offense has gone from run first earlier to now they run hurry up, they run pass. This is very unpredictable, and the defense cannot hone in on one part of the Rams offense.
They're going to speed it up here, looking to capitalize on their hot start. They're going to go trips right to the bottom of your screen. Play fake to Wise. It's a quick hitch to the outside. They find Luke Morton for a pickup of 5 yards to the 25-yard line. It will set up 2nd and 5.
And Ian, I like how the Rams offense isn't sticking to one run or one pass. They're very versatile. They're staying in trips right, but they're confusing the defense between play fakes and RPOs.
Just over 9 minutes left in quarter number 1 as the Rams inch closer and closer to a potential score. Give up the gut to Wise, but this time he is rattled down to the ground at roughly the 23-yard line. Only a gain of 2, and it sets the Rams up here with an interesting 3rd and 3. Dylan, if you're offensive coordinator Dan Farina, are you leaning more towards the run with Johnny Wise, or maybe put it in Drew Pine's hands?
Everyone would say go to the Notre Dame commit. I would actually go to the run here, but I would go with an outside run here, Ian.
That's only going to go for a gain of 1 for the junior running back. 3rd and 4. They try to get him on the hard count, but Wilton saw it coming, so Pine will go back to the bench for a new play as Johnny Wise shifts right behind him in the I formation and then goes right back to his right. And it will be a give up the gut to John Wise, and he will be short of a 1st down.
Very interesting decision here for the Rams, Ian. They could kick with Nick Radman, who had a 37-yarder last week, or they can keep the offense on the field, which they plan to do right now.
And it will go for it on 4th and 2, even though Nick Radman has made multiple field goals this year of 35 yards or longer. They're going to go for it, try to capitalize with a potential touchdown drive. It's 4th and 2 here from the 22. Zach LaPolice in motion. Give up the gut to John Wise. Huge room to rumble, and Wise will go all the way down to the 4-yard line. Terrific execution, terrific blocking on the inside there, Dylan.
Ian, we heard Coach Marinelli tell us how the shovel pass to LaPolice will be turned into different plays, and that was one of them, how they faked the motion to LaPolice on the shovel, and they went right up the middle at Wise, huge hole, and now they're a mere 4 yards from end zone.
They're going to hurry it up here. It's 1st and goal from the 4. Johnny Wise, who knows, maybe he could get rushing touchdown number 12 on the year. Pine will go through the air, corner of the end zone, and they say that is incomplete. Zach LaPolice looking to get the 2 feet in bounds, and they're going
to give him the catch there, Ian. He's a few inches from the end zone.
Good spot, Dylan. What a terrific catch from Zach LaPolice. As you mentioned, he's not Quentin O'Connell, but he's doing his best impression of him. He makes terrific catches all around the field. Coach Marinelli said, he occasionally had issues with drops earlier on in the year, but, second half of this Rams season, he has looked perfect.
Now, Ian, we see Chris Caratu actually here in formation. I expect a run right up the middle, a linebacker on this team, but he's in for a big man, big lineman who's going to block on this run.
Also, Justin Villeneuve in there at tight end. It's a jumbo formation. Drew Pine up the gut on the QB sneak, and he is in for the Rams touchdown. Shutting him down on defense, and it will be Drew Pine in for the 1-yard score. His 3rd rushing touchdown on the year.
Amazing there by the Rams. Almost like scientific as they cut through the Wilton defense. I talked about how they only needed 43 yards for the score. They got it, and now the pressure's back on the road team.
Nick Radman was terrific for the Rams last week. He nailed all 6 of his extra points and a pair of field goals and was up for Rudin Report Player of the Week. Here he is again. Kick is up. Kick is good, and the Rams take an early 7-0 lead. They clamp up on defense, force the punt. Great field position, and this offense looks flawless. As we're going to get a second look at that one. He got pushed by his own running back right into the end zone there. Let's get another look.
What an angle.
And Johnny Wise alongside Christian Sweeney just shoved their big boy number 10 right in. It doesn't get much easier than that when you have your teammates literally shoving you in for a touchdown.
Great angle by our camera operator right there. The Rams will kick it back off. I would like to see how the Warriors respond. A team that's been ahead in a lot of games this year, but now they get punched in the mouth. How will they respond?
And especially for them, this is a critical drive considering that they got the ball first, and they're going to need to get on the board early if they want to get back in this one and make sure Drew Pine and company don't get too hot on offense. Radman back on for the kickoff. And here it goes. This kick flies down the right sideline, and it takes a terrific New Canaan bounce and will be fielded by Wilton. A really good kick puts him at the 20-21-yard line. It was returned by the junior, Trevor Martinez.
And we see O'Brien coming back out here with number 11, Drew Phillips. And Phillips is a guy who they need to get him going if they want any success on offense. So I expect to run here on first and maybe really get that run going so it could even open up the play-action pass game.
You know, Phillips hasn't had the kind of year Johnny Wise has had, but actually he's had more rushing yards. It's pretty comparable. 563 yards and 8 rushing scores, averaging 5.1 yards per carry. Now number 11. He switched his number, and it has a little shotgun nuance in pregame warm-ups.
Oh.
Terrific hit here from New Canaan's defense. They were setting up the bubble screen, and it looks like he still held on for the catch. But what a shot from, you guessed it, Drew Guida with a shell-shocked blow. The always physical safety finally feels in his element, Dylan, now in his 3rd game back from the broken collarbone.
And I'm smiling because Coach Silvestri just ran onto the field to give Drew a few fist bumps there. And that was a very dangerous pass here. We see it almost got intercepted, actually. Very dangerous play by Wilton on a 6-yard loss.
That catch was by junior Michael Coffey. It's going to be a draw play up the gut here to Phillips. A solid second effort, but really does not get a whole lot to go there. Maybe a gain of a few, but again, the second straight drive for Wilton, where they're going to have to open up with a 3rd and forever.
Definitely, and they didn't set themselves up well here. They're now a 3rd and 16. They're on their own 15. They need something to get any momentum on this drive, and a big pass to get a first would do just that.
And quarterback Jimmy O'Brien on the year. Statistically, he's been pretty good. 1,571 yards, 65% completion rate, 16 TDs, 8 picks, and a 106 passer rating. Can he get it done on 3rd and 16? O'Brien's going to roll. Pressure comes, and he goes down. Nowhere to go. On that sack is Ethan Shallon, his first career varsity sack in the junior, who I mentioned in the pregame as he could have a potential big game as a pass rusher, comes up huge.
We talked about how Matt Rigione was out this game. Another guy had to step up. Shallon did his job right there. And now Wilton's forced to punt from their own end zone. Really not the way they wanted to start this game, Ian, in a almost must-win situation.
They're going to punt from deep from within their own end zone. They luckily get it off as this one
What a
takes a
punt.
good Wilton bounce. Really terrific bounce all the way across midfield at the 47-yard line. You also got to give credit to the Rams outside linebacker there. Braden Sweeney kept his contain on the QB rollout to the left, and it made it a lot easier for Ethan Shallon just to come in and swoop that easy sack.
I mean, absolutely, and this team is playing and firing on all filters right now, and they look to go up 2 scores here. I expect them to really open up the offense here and maybe go with a deep pass soon enough. Watch out for that on this drive.
They're going to start from their own 47 here after a back-to-back Wilton punts. Drew Pine and co. Johnny Wise to his left. He's going to play fake it to him. Quick pass out to Luke Morton, and for some reason that's ruled incomplete. Looks like he might have dropped it there, as it will set up 2nd and 7. Pickup of 3 from Morton.
I think he was ruled down by contact, Ian. His knee was down.
Good point, Dylan. Was able to secure the catch, but couldn't remain on his feet for some potential rack. Here's 2nd and 7. Give up the gut to John Wise. Not a whole lot of room. He's going to pick up nothing on that one. It's going to set up 3rd and 7. A potential big stop here for Wilton on the horizon.
And this is a big test for the Rams. They're not really in these 3rd down and long situations much. And the playbook is, of course, limited at a 3rd and 7. I expect La Police to get the ball here, but really we don't know because of such a diverse wide receiver group.
Coach Marinelli really likes the progress his whole group has made. It's going to be a quick screen. They were looking for La Police, and it's overthrown. Incomplete. Wilton gets a much-needed stop, and Nick Radman in the punt unit will come out on 4th and 7.
And that's where the Rams are tested, and they really don't have a solution just yet. Even this late in the season, on a 3rd and 7, you expect the guy to go to is La Police. But when defenses know it's going to go to him, they have to look to other options such as Morton, Russell, or Sweeney. And they really just haven't been in that situation yet this year. They need to work on that if they expect to beat these teams like Wilton and Darien next week.
Just when you thought you couldn't replace a guy like Quentin O'Connell, Zach LaPolice comes in an 8 games, 701 yards and 10 touchdowns through the air, averaging 17.5 yards a grab. Terrific punt is muffed, and it's fielded at the 1-yard line. does not get much better than that. Nick Radman with the absolute laser. Blunder after blunder early on for Wilton right after they get a good defensive stop. They're going to be backed up inside the 1.
Now, Ian, I'm not saying that the skill levels are different. I feel like the teams are very equal skill-wise, but experience is showing in this game. A team like the Rams who know how to win, they've been in these big games, versus Wilton who hasn't, and they look like they're crumbling under pressure right now.
That's the second muffed ball. On the first play of the game, it was quarterback O'Brien who muffed it in here. A muffed punt return sets them up in horrible field position. They're lucky to get out of this without a safety. First down from within their own 1-yard line as they make a quick substitution. And they're going to call a timeout. Looks like they had probably too many men on the field, and they didn't want to get a penalty that would have backed them up, I don't know, maybe inside their own end zone. They really have zero breathing room here with 3:49 left in quarter number 1. New Canaan so far dominating in this one, 7-0. But Wilton just got a defensive stop and is looking to get on the board. Here is Coach E.J. Denuzio and his brand new spread offense, which has looked pretty good here. And there's associate head coach Chris Silvestri, also the defensive coordinator, the former Gatorade Player of the Year here at New Canaan, just one of 2 Gatorade Player of the Years New Canaan has ever produced. Chris Silvestri and Zach Allen, a current defensive end for the Arizona Cardinals, just drafted out of Boston College this year at the top of the 3rd round. These are 2 veteran coaching staffs, but 2 surprisingly young teams who are fighting for a chance for a spot in the Class L playoffs. Both of them sitting at 6-2. They're going to go jumbo set here on the goal line. Give up the gut. And not a whole lot of room there. Forward progress is going to give Phillips maybe a yard or 2, but not much more as the Rams stand tall.
And you'd think that Wilton would get the momentum after that huge 3-and-out that they forced against Drew Pine and Co. But that punt by Radman just took the wind out of their sails, Ian. They look like a team that's really lost and don't really know where to go. I expect Coach E.J. Denuzio to gather his team after this first quarter, or even sooner, as we only have 3 minutes left. But this is just a situation you got to try your best at. Try not to take a safety and just move on.
Phillips picks up just a little bit over a yard, sets up 2nd and 9 from the 2. They're going to pitch it here. Getting a little bit of breathing room, but not enough. Rattled down by Braden Sweeney and Nick Giglio. It was number 23 on the carry. John DeRocco, another senior running back, getting some run here early on for the Warriors.
We talk about how their defense, the New Canaan defense, of course, is young, but also has some experienced players. A player that I like to point out is number 13, Walker Swindell, who plays safety and made a great play there to get outside and contain the running back on that pitch play.
And DeRocco is actually the Warriors' star defensive player. He currently leads a team with 35 total tackles and 9 tackles for loss, second best on Wilton. Also getting some run at running back. 3rd and 7 here. And he will go down for a moment. They're going to say that's a incomplete pass. Smart play to jump on it.
That's a correct call, Ian. I saw that as an incompletion as well. Smart play by Jimmy O'Brien to get rid of it before his knee was on the ground.
And Coach Chris Silvestri is not afraid to send pressure when he wants. Really good play call there. They were backed up, not a whole lot of options. They try to roll away from pressure to no prevail, and there's a flag on the field. Coach Silvestri just looks like he won the lottery on the sideline. That's going to be intentional grounding, and it is going to be a safety. They never said he got outside the pocket, and that's why they're going to give him intentional grounding, and that's why the Rams are going to get a free 2 points. It's now 9-0 New Canaan.
And all things are coming up Rams here, from the calls to the plays to the execution. Now the Rams, great break by them to get up 9-0. Now it's 2 scores, and they get the ball back. If they score in this drive, I would like to say that they have full control of this game. And when the Rams have full control, their opponent usually falters and eventually crumbles.
We talk about momentum, and especially in high school sports where these are just student athletes. Once you have the momentum in a game like this, you really have a huge advantage. Let's see exactly what happened there. They first ruled it an incompletion. Pressure comes up the gut.
Yes.
That's going to be Andrew Morris yet again. Had a sack earlier on in this one, and he's going to get the safety on that one thanks to the intentional grounding call. as O'Brien tried to get rid of it, was never outside the pocket, and was really never throwing it to anyone, just trying to get it out before it was too late.
And I think that was a correct call, and he wasn't out of the pocket, and he just threw it away. There was no one in the area. Correct call by the officials. Great call by them. Rams take advantage, and now Wilton is desperately in need of a stop after the Rams collect this punt.
And Morris currently 4th on the team in tackles with 38, 20 solo stops, including a tackle for loss for the senior linebacker. And he has come up huge tonight as an interior pass rusher. He's really been wrecking havoc on a really solid Wilton offensive line that's led by big number 79, Matthew Colvin. He's a big force on the inside, only a junior, well known by a lot of these new Canaan players who played him. As a youth player, he's got 2 college offers from Rutgers and UMass, but he has not been able to stop that inside pressure tonight. The boot here from Wilton comes from 28, Parker Woodring, the sophomore. It's a return from Christian Sweeney. Slips a tackle, still churning all the way up to the 42-yard line. Terrific return from the multi-positional star of the Rams.
I mean, we hear the Rams sideline just cheering, go, 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 Ian. And they're excited on the sideline because, I mean, this team, everything is going right for them. And when they have that right, especially at home, it's so difficult to come on the road, change the momentum of the game, and come back from a potential 16-0 lead. But right now, even 9-0 is difficult on the road in this environment.
And another short field for New Canaan. Last time they got the ball within their own territory, they capped it off with a Drew Pine rushing touchdown, his 5th on the year. But this drive doesn't get off to as hot a start. That's going to be a false start. It'll push him back to a 1st and 15 at the 48-yard line. Still in Wilton territory, though. And we talked at the beginning of the year, Drew Pine did not have a Drew Pine start to the year, but over the last 2 games, 8 TDs. Really, over the last 5 games, 8 through the air, now 2 on the ground. He's been unstoppable. 17 touchdowns to 5 interceptions on the season. Pine, miscommunication. He had Sweeney pretty wide open on a seam route, but he never looked back for the football. Breaking on that pass and nearly intercepting it was Kyle Hizzy, who plays both wide receiver and safety. He nearly broke on that one. Pine catches a lucky break.
Weird how so late in the season and this Rams team doesn't have everything under control, especially under the great coach of Lou Marinelli. This team is usually very, very good at understanding each other, and maybe Sweeney just becoming a wide receiver has a thing to do with that miscommunication.
Play fake to Wise. Going for it all down the right sideline, and Kyle Russell nearly comes up with that one-hand snag. But terrific coverage on that one. 1v1, he had Kyle Russell open, but in the end, the senior could not come up with it.
And that was Trevor Martinez on the coverage. Amazing job not to take a penalty, keep him to the outside. I felt that was a great pass by Drew, great ball, put it right in the basket. Russell felt like he was getting pressured a little bit. Maybe he took that a little bit too much to his head. I felt like he could have made that catch. But the Rams have to regroup on this 3rd and 15.
3rd and forever to go, empty backfield. Pressure comes. Pine slipping the sack, gearing for the big shot downfield, and he cannot connect with Luke Morton as that ball sails out of bounds, and the Rams will punt it for their 2nd straight drive. As you mentioned, Dylan, that was a really good ball from Drew. It was a tough catch for Kyle, but when you're the Rams' 2nd leading receiver and a senior, you got to come up with that kind of football.
I mean, I like how the Rams' offense is working, though, Ian. I mentioned it last drive. I feel like they have to open up this deep pass game to beat these top-tier teams, especially, let's say they don't win the skill battle, Ian. They don't have enough skills the other team. They're going to have to beat them with big plays, and that's something that the Rams have lacked this year, with the exception of the shovel pass by La Police. But a deep pass is something that they had last year with Quentin O'Connell. They haven't found that yet.
Especially with Drew Guida back in the lineup, offensive coordinator Dan Farina has really started to open up the vertical pass game. It's nice to see it working. That's a short punt from Nick Radman. He's going to be wrestled down by Braden Sweeney, and Matt Benevento dragged out at the 31-yard line. Not a terrific punt from the junior, his 2nd on the night.
And I love how Wilton has responded, Ian. Their offense hasn't had the best of luck, right? They start at the 1. They had a tough first drive. But the defense, I feel, is keeping them in this game. They let up the 43 yards on the first touchdown, but they couldn't really do much there. but they have kept them in the game, and Wilton's offense has to respond in this situation.
And it's interesting, both these teams very similar comparison-wise, both strong defenses, and both of them 6-2. They've both lost to the same two teams, St. Joe's and Richfield. They go dual set here, and they're going to end up giving it up the gut to number 23, John DeRocco. Doesn't go for very much, though. That's the first time they've busted out the two-back set, and it goes for no yards as we reach the end of the first quarter, 2nd and 10. It's going to be Alex Chur, the nose tackle, on the stop. Going to be 2nd and 10 here. They go back to the dual-back set, maybe looking for some extra pass protection. Flips around and sets up a solid screen pass, but it's shut down by Chris Caratu near the line of scrimmage. Second straight give to Jacob Somer. The sophomore running back gets the touch, but Chris Caratu, with 11 sacks on the year, including a school record 5 in their win over Staples a few weeks ago, makes the play at the line of scrimmage. Sets up 3rd and 7. It's a 3-yard gain. Just under 30 seconds left here in quarter number 1.
And Wilton has forced their way, not forced their way, but it has been put into this position of 3rd and longs all night. They have to get it and convert at least one, and this is the one they will.
O'Brien dumps it off, and that will be a first down completion. A terrific effort from number 10. Or excuse me, they line him up wide. It's Drew Phillips, the running back who switched numbers and switched up in my mind. He's wearing number 11 tonight. They line him up wide. He can do it all, and he comes up with a big-time play. That's Wilton's first down of the night, and that will be the end of the first quarter. It moves them all the way up to the 46-yard line. A pickup of 10 yards is just enough for Wilton's first down of the game. It's been all New Canaan so far. Score is 9 New Canaan, 0 Wilton Warriors, but Wilton finally got a little bit of momentum, Dylan. Jimmy O'Brien gets a quick completion here or there, and they could put a drive together.
Ian, I feel like this game is much closer than what we've seen. New Canaan had all the breaks in that first quarter, but they're only up 9-0. That's barely 2 scores. That's a touchdown and a kick away from Wilton leading. And this is a team that can come back. We've seen it this year, and they've had the same wins and the same losses as New Canaan. But I feel like this team is destined to just break out. We saw it with Trumbull last week, a team that isn't as offensively intellectual as Wilton is, and I feel like they're very close to breaking out with a big play, maybe to Hizzy or Martinez.
Definitely. We're going to look at the first half highlights in just a moment. It's been a lot of New Canaan, but as we mentioned, Drew Phillips and Kyle Hizzy are a few guys who could bust onto the scene in just a few moments and potentially provide some big plays. But it was Johnny Wise early, who was battling an ankle injury over the last 2 games, who set Drew Pine up for the easy touchdown run, and then a safety later on in the drive as we are about to start quarter number 2. That terrific Nick Radman punt set them up at the 1 and led to the safety. Here's Wilton back on offense. Nowhere to go. Terrific play from Corey Pickering, the junior defensive tackle who Coach Marinelli has talked about, a guy who could potentially get some playing time. Extremely fast upon the D-line, and he makes really his first big play on varsity in his career.
I love how Wilton is really opening up the pass game. That was a great play by Pickering. We haven't seen him or called his name much this year. But with the injury of Region, other players are going to have to step up. We saw Shallon, and now we see Pickering.
That's going to be a loss of 7 on that quick swing pass. That's up 2nd and 17. O'Brien gives it up the gut. He's going to get it up to the 45-yard line. Guess who? It's Drew Phillips, who picks up 6 yards and sets him up with a more manageable, but still, as you mentioned, Dylan, yet another 3rd and long. This one, 3rd and 11. For O'Brien and crew.
That's not a position you want to be in, especially on the road in a game that you're trying to get back into. You need short completions to get first downs. They're not getting that right now, and they're forcing themselves to make plays, risky plays, but plays that aren't as successful as some other plays, let's say a 3rd and 4, a 3rd and 3.
Maybe we see Kyle Hizzy get involved. He's got 1 catch tonight. Roll out here from O'Brien. He will loft it wide open, but incomplete. was, guess who? Drew Phillips. They line him back up wide at wide receiver. He's been everything for this offense tonight. It's a little bit overthrown, but not the greatest adjustment from Phillips. You jumped at that one. You really wish that he'd reeled that one in.
Well, Ian, I saw that they ran that play on the goal line down when they got that safety a few plays before, and I was thinking, what kind of play is this? Why is he rolling out to the opposite side that a right-handed quarterback would? But I see their play there. They got the defense all fighting, thinking that it was going to be a read option that he was going to run, but he stayed in there just enough, and he found his man, but just overthrew him just a bit.
Terrific punt from John DeRocco leaves Zach LaPolice with really nothing on that return as he gets it out to the 17-yard line. DeRocco, solid running back, great defensive player as the leading tackler, and he makes a great play there on special teams.
And Ian, this isn't a game that I feel is perfectly represented by a 9-0 score. I feel like it should be much bigger just due to the fact that how many deep plays are just missing. From the Russell pass down the sideline that he almost had to the play right there with Phillips. There are so many plays that are very close hitting, but these teams, I would say the weather has an impact, maybe just not playing in so long.
Johnny Wise, they love to run it inside zone plays for John. Not a whole lot of room there, maybe get the yard. It's gain of just 1 for Johnny Wise on the inside run. Sets him up with 2nd and 9 as they try to get the Warriors with the hard count. But for the second time tonight, this defense won't budge. Front 7 stays intellectually strong.
I'm very impressed by the Wilton defense so far. They had that one miscue on the first drive, but they've been very solid ever since.
Christian Carson in at running back. This ball is tipped, and luckily it's not intercepted. Great play from, I believe, number 7, Michael Coffey, making the play on defense and batting that one at the line of scrimmage.
I mean, that's how you're going to get to Drew Pine. He hasn't thrown an interception in the 2 past games, and that's how you're going to get to him. You get your hands up at the line, you tip a ball, and you hope that's going near your defender. That time, luck didn't break Wilton's way, as it hasn't really this game just yet. But I love how their defense has played, especially number 79. That's Matthew Golbanian.
The big potential D1 recruit with 2 D1 offers. They put Christian Sweeney in motion. Pine, pressure comes. They set the screen up to Christian Carson. Breaks a tackle. First down and more, rumbling and tumbling. There's no quit in this kid all the way to the 42-yard line. That's a huge gain of 24 yards. Carson got his first career start last week as Johnny Wise was down, and he made the most of his opportunity with 91 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown against Trumbull. They're going to go to the hurry-up offense here as Johnny Wise is back in the game. They try to get him with a hard count to no prevail. And Carson got mad at me today on a sports report. We did not mention how he had such a big game last week, but he's proven me wrong again. Terrific play design there, Dylan. Pine's going to roll right, looking down the field. Pressure comes back to his left, and just chucks this one in the dirt to avoid an incompletion, to avoid potentially an interception.
And we see Coach Ed Denuzio on the field currently yelling at the officials for intentional grounding. He is clapping his hands at the officials, wishing for a call that they just haven't gotten so far. A team that has played so great on defense, but their luck hasn't broken their way just yet. But I expect them to make a big play very soon.
Yeah, Dylan, I didn't want to say anything about that being a potential intentional grounding, but the ref saw differently. Maybe he got outside the pocket at first, and that's why they didn't call anything. Johnny Wise, terrific jump cut and terrific blocking up front, gets just enough for a new Canaan first down. Actually, he's going to be just inches short, it looks like. He's going to set up 2nd and short here. Another great run from the star junior, but they are going to give him just enough.
You know, Ian, I love how versatile this Rams offense is. They didn't have this versatility earlier in the year when they were mostly a run-heavy team. But now they have such versatility that when the passing game isn't working like it is this drive so far, they go to the run.
Play fake to Wise. Pine's got plenty of time. He's going to unleash the cannon. And terrific clean downfield coverage from Wilton. looking for Christian Sweeney on that 1v1 ball. The big 6'3" target plays basketball, giving him the lob. But again, that's the second play today where Wilton's played really good, clean, deep defense.
Definitely, and I talked about it a little bit earlier, but deep pass is what New Canaan's weakness is. They don't have an option there. They haven't had a play call so far this year where they can just throw it up and have it like they had with Quentin O'Connell last year. That's something they have to work on, and they're trying to right now, and they're trying out different guys to catch that ball. But maybe they're just not a team that's going to go deep. They're going to get short chunks of yards.
Hayden Shin now in the game at running back for the Rams to Drew's left. They're going to set up another screen pass, and this one is batted and luckily not intercepted. Back-to-back great plays from Drew Phillips. Broke up the pass intended for Christian Sweeney, and he's right back at it. Drew Phillips is instantly the MVP right now. He is doing everything for this team offensively, through the air, on the ground, and now locking up #1 targets for New Canaan. He's doing it all.
And we saw that screen pass earlier that was very dangerous by Drew. I don't expect them to run it again just because they've had such a dangerous play there, and it was almost picked again, that time by Phillips. Before it was by Hizzy. But, I mean, this Wilton defense has been very close to many interceptions.
Well, Dylan, I never thought I would see this flag. Well, it's a warning. It's a sideline warning. There's a line down there. You can't cross the red and yellow line on the field. And coaches would always say, don't jump the line, don't jump the line. And that's exactly what happened. They're not going to get the penalty, but you sure bet you're not going to get another one of those tonight. A little bit of a high snap is controlled and taken. Drew Pine on the keeper. Huge room down the left sideline. Over 15 yards on that rumble. Drew Pine. We really haven't seen a whole lot of design runs for him this year, but he takes off on that one. Picks up a New Canaan first down.
And what a wonderful play call by the New Canaan coaches, playing that read option. Like we said, we haven't seen that often this year, and now we see it, and we see Drew's speed at will as he goes down the sideline.
That gets him all the way up to the 30-yard line as Pine is going to give it up the gut here to Johnny Wise. Gets up to roughly the 26, 25-yard line for a pickup of 4 or 5. And that didn't look like, at first, a keeper from Pine. A little bit of a high snap. Maybe he decides to just keep it himself. But regardless, he runs a 4.7 40 for a reason, and they're going to get more design runs for him as he got his 5th rushing touchdown on the year earlier in this one. And why not? When you got a Notre Dame quarterback, use every ounce of him you got before he leaves for South Bend next fall. 2nd and 6. LaPolice in motion, and they'll give it to him on the jet sweep. He breaks a tackle, but there's not a whole lot of room. Maybe a gain of 1 or 2 as a Wilton player is down. Michael Coffey, who batted a pass down earlier, is banged up a little bit as we're going to send it back up to the booth, and a little bit of a late flag there. But Dylan, New Canaan continues to put a drive together. You know, they're making plays here and there. They're not getting the deep shot just yet, but they are able to finally put a dent in this Wilton defense. And what have you seen from this drive, Dylan, that has really made you flip your tune? Because you were singing Wilton's praises defensively early on, but now they're finally starting to get shredded up a little bit.
I feel like they're getting shredded up only because their offense hasn't been able to put a drive together to give their defense a little bit of rest. You know, they're out there all the time. We talk about this like the Chicago Bears defense of last year. They were on the field almost the entire game, and now we see that Wilton's defense where they're getting tired. Rams are just taking advantage of issues and problems they're making for themselves. Rams don't have to face the 3rd down and long that Wilton has almost every drive they have. They're just picking apart the Wilton defense from the run to the pass. And I expect the pass to be a big part in this score. Watch out for Kyle Russell on another deep ball pass here, which this one he will catch.
Good news for Wilton as Michael Coffey is now limping to the sideline, but under his own power. So good to see the junior, who's had a productive game so far, on his feet. And hopefully they can get him back soon, but good to see he's good. It's going to be 3rd and 7 as they're actually going to lose a yard on the jet sweep that has worked all year long for Zach LaPolice and the rest of this New Canaan offense. They're going to go 5 wide here, including Drew Guida in the slot to the right. Watch out for number 4. Pine's going to look right. Pressure's right in his face from Diorio. He gets it away. Oh, and he nearly finds nearly finds Luke Morton, Kyle Russell, but there is a flag on the play. Jacob Sommer on the coverage, but it looks like that is going to be pass interference on the defense. Drew bought himself some time there, went on the move, and they couldn't stay disciplined on the back end, as that's going to be a free first down for New Canaan and keep this long drive alive with 7:19 left to go in quarter number 2.
I mean, that's such a tough break for Wilton because they've been playing so great, and now they have to give up this first down to the Rams, who got a new set of downs, of course. But just a tough situation, you know, 3rd down and long. It was going to be for the Rams, and now they give up these yards, and now the Rams are in the red zone, where they are money so far this year.
And the Rams, they've had some troubles here and there putting drives together, but once they're on a roll, they usually cap off their drives with some kind of score. 1st and 10, that penalty is going to give them a free 14 yards down to the 13-yard line, back inside the red zone.
And watch out, Ian, man coverage, we've seen it before. Watch Walker Swindell on a slant play to the left.
Drew Guida's in the backfield, and Guida is going to get his first carry on the year. He played a little bit of running back for Rams last year in his junior season, and he's going to pick up a gain of 1 or 2 there for the senior co-captain.
I mean, we've seen him on all sides of the ball: safety, cornerback, running back, wide receiver. He is a crazy versatile player, and the Rams just want to use him in all different aspects to confuse this Wilton's defense that honestly just looks tired right now.
They're going to go back to the empty set here, and Guida is back in the slot. Pine's going to look left, go left, and it is a terrific catch. Touchdown Rams. Christian Sweeney going basketball on him with the high point snag from 12 yards out. The junior for the touchdown. Sweeney second on the team in both catches and yards, and that is now Christian Sweeney's 5th touchdown catch on the year.
It's great to see all these wide receivers for the Rams getting their own. We see it from La Police to Morton to Swindell to Guida, and now we see Sweeney, a guy that was playing running back, Ian, but was then forced into the wide receiver position because of Drew Guida's injury. He's taken it in stride, and he's turned into that great number 3 wide receiver that the Rams have needed.
And you'll have to see how Dan Farina, the former wide receiver coach, is really getting the most out of his wide receivers. I mean, this year with Zach LaPolice, he's averaging over 17 yards a catch. You see it with Christian Sweeney, a guy who he knows when we get in the red zone, we're going to target him just because of his size. And you saw earlier on the drive, he chucked the 1v1 ball up to him. You know, it's not just replacing Quentin, but it's how do you work with the talent you have. And, you know, as the year has gone on, Coach Farina has really found different ways and creative ways to get guys involved. Even guys like Luke Morton and Kyle Russell are getting more involved as the season goes on. And that long drive started off with this 24-yard catch and run on the screen pass to Christian Carson, who had a breakout game last week in their win against Trumbull. Then here was Johnny Wise when he hits the open field. Good luck. Hits him with a jump cut, picked up a first down. But Drew Pine already rushed for a touchdown on the goal line earlier in this one. And here he shows off the speed on the keeper. And then this drive ended by a laser from Pine to Christian Sweeney. They're going to go for 2, and they're going to end up getting it.
You know, Ian, that's a math thing. We see it a lot in sports with analytics and sabermetrics. Now we see that the Rams are up 15-0. But with that 2, they're now up 17-0. 3 scores up rather than 2. A team that buys into analytics, something that I am a huge expert and fan of.
And considering I nearly dropped out of math class, Dylan, I think you're the expert on that one. But guess who is no other than number 16, Christian Sweeney, who comes up with a 2-point conversion off the rollout. Sweeney with the 12-yard touchdown catch, his 5th on the year, and then he comes right back with the quick dump off in the flat. Drew Pine and co., Christian Sweeney, they're all clicking on all cylinders. And as you mentioned, Dylan, when it's a 2-possession game, you have yourself a solid chance. The emotions on the sideline are still we can get back in it. But when it's a 3-score game this early on with 6:43 left, Wilton has to get something going on the scoreboard here. Jimmy O'Brien and crew really have to finally push the ball down the field. Nick Radman on for the kickoff. This one will soar down the right sideline and will be fielded by number 35. A terrific hit from New Canaan. That's going to be Harry Apelt, number 26, who comes in with the big hit. And it's going to be Jacob Sommer, the sophomore, who took the shot there from Apelt, the junior. Apelt's gotten some run year at safety with the injuries of Drew Guida early on and Chris Canette, who's still out for the year with a torn labrum, and he's made the most of his opportunities on the back end. But now with Guida back in the lineup, he is no longer starting, but still a reliable option on the back end for the Rams is Apelt. First and 10 from the 22. It's a high snap to O'Brien. Going through reads. Goes for the deep shot. It's underthrown, but it is reeled in. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Kyle Hizzy. Terrific 1v1 catch over Drew Guida to the 35-yard line. That is a gain of 43 yards, if my math, which isn't great, is correct, Dylan.
An amazing job by Wilton. They get punched in the mouth. They go down 3 scores, and you think they'd understand that they're down 3. Maybe they just want to take it easy. I mean, they're saying no. They're fighting back, and that was a great start. The penalty is declined as it was on Zach Law Police. The pass interference was. And now Wilton is in a wonderful position. The first time they have been on the other side of the field tonight.
Good call, Dylan. Exactly what the doctor ordered. Just chuck it up to your best playmaker. A really solid throw, a little bit underthrown, but terrific adjustment from Hizzy. They're going to go bunch formation here. O'Brien is going to roll right, looks down the field, eludes pressure, lofts it up, and could not find the open man, junior Kyle Jordan. Number 4, senior Dominic Polito. Could not come up with that overthrown ball.
And that's a very interesting play in because he's begging the defense to come forward so he can go deep over the top, something that the Rams bid on earlier. But now in that play, they were very patient. They stayed back, and they forced quarterback James O'Brien to overthrow it and just throw it away, really.
They're going to go bunch formation to the bottom of your screen, and they're going to try to set up the screen. Nothing there. Looking for intentional grounding, but they won't get it. Drew Phillips was draped on that screen. New Canaan's defense saw that from a mile away, and it was Andrew Morris on his 3rd QB pressure of the game who forced O'Brien to chuck it into the turf.
I mean, O'Brien, he's showing some signs, really, of rookiness, of he's being very new at the quarterback position. We know that he's played years before. Varsity is, of course, a different level of quarterback in high school, but I like to see how he responds to this 3rd and long.
It's a big 3rd and 10 here, Dylan, and he won't get the chance to respond as they'll give it up the gut to superstar Swiss Army knife Drew Phillips. He's going to get it up to the 28-yard line for a gain of 7.
Ian, I feel like this is the biggest play of the game. 4th and 3 now on the Rams' 28-yard line.
Let go! What's up, buddy?
And the Wilton Warriors, it's a team that they're going to have to respond right now, or they forever may hold their peace, really, because this is a team that needs a response as we speak right now. James O'Brien has to make a big play on this 4th down.
Well, let's not say it's over just yet, but this is a huge play. Pressure comes. O'Brien gets rid of it, and it's overthrown out of bounds. The pass rush gets to him, and Drew Phillips, who was open out wide, could not adjust to that one. The senior quarterback, frankly, couldn't get it done as Coach Silvestri dials up yet another great blitz to fluster the senior quarterback.
And that's great by Coach Silvestri, of course, to send those blitzes so that it could put the pressure on James O'Brien, of course. But I think I'm seeing right now is that going from the wishbone offense last year and the years past to this spread offense, it's a whole different system, Ian. It's a team that goes from running the ball mostly and controlling the clock to a team that has to pass the ball and go around the field creating big plays. This is something that O'Brien and the entire team really is new at. They haven't really tried it since this year, and it's showing in this big game that they're not fully familiar with this offense.
Give to Johnny Wise. Not a whole lot of room. The Wilton defense showing up yet again. It's a gain of just a yard or 2 up to the 30 for John Wise. And last year, O'Brien and this Wilton team, they did run a lot of the wishbone, and he only ended up throwing the ball 95 times all season, ended up with 722 yards, a pretty good passer rating of 95.2 with a 10-4 touchdown interception ratio. But a whole new beast is the spread offense. in today's day and age. This time, Johnny Wise picks up 2 on first down, and he's going to lose 2 on this one. That's going to be Michael Coffey. Good to see him back in the game after getting an early injury and walking off the field. But he's right back in it, making a big play for Wilton's defense.
And Ian, I talked about it earlier, and they proved me wrong with the read option by Drew Pine. But this team needs to work on their 3rd and long situations. They haven't been in it many times this year, but when they play these top teams in the FCAC, such as a Wilton, such as a Darien, or even if they get as far as St. Joe's, they're going to have to convert on these. I'd like to see what they run here.
Pine looking for Hayden Shin out of the backfield. He's going to go for him. Did he make that catch? No. Yes, he did. He's a running back. Didn't look like one on that one, Dylan. He lays out for it, and they give him the grab along the sideline. Hayden Shin emerged as a star last week with 94 yards on the ground, and this week he's proven his worth through the air. Him and Christian Carson, both of them have had big plays through the air tonight.
What a wonderful catch there by Shin, and wonderful play call to get Shin down the sideline, using his speed to speed past the cornerback and catch that one-handed.
Gets him all the way across midfield to the 48-yard line. Pine put it right where only he or the turf was going to get it. New Canaan is going to call their second timeout of the first half with 4:07 left in that one. Calm the nerves down a little bit. Why not after that big-time play from Hayden Shin? Going to get a second look at that catch because even I got tripped up for a second. I didn't think he maintained control. Beautiful rainbow ball from Pine. Get a little bit of a slow-mo, and it looks like he came down with that left hand and dragged that left shoulder and left leg in bounds. Got just enough to make that a big-time Rams completion.
And he had a wonderful throw there by Drew Pine. It's going to go really unnoticed, but it should be represented just because he was off his back foot getting pressured, and he made that great throw over the defender's head just where Hayden could catch it.
And Hayden's brother Owen was a great running back here, now a lacrosse player at Ohio Wesleyan, and Hayden hopes to get even more and more reps after that big-time game last week, and he's earned them. Christian Sweeney in motion, but they're going to give it up the gut to John Wise, who loses it for a moment, but luckily jumps on that one within a millisecond. Wouldn't let that one slip away. He's going to get nothing on that run. And Coach Marinelli, when we talked to him about, how do you maintain Johnny Wise's success as he comes back, but also still manage to get Christian Carson and Hayden Shin still involved, and the Rams have done a masterful job of really making this a 3-headed monster tonight in the backfield. 2nd and 10 from the 48. Pine's going to look right, go right, to the sideline. Broken tackle. Guess who? It's Zach LaPolice. Big play, 1st down and more. Inside the 30 to the 27-yard line. Give him 21 yards on that big catch and run for number 7.
And we talked to Coach Lou Marinelli, who said he'd have some offensive surprises, and he could open up the playbook, especially with how great Drew's playing. And he especially is doing just that, from the 10 to 15-yard pass chunk plays that they're getting that they haven't had this year.
And really, LaPolice has probably been the best receiver in the FCAC when it comes to after the catch. He's unstoppable. You get a guy on him, really great, even though he's a smaller guy, it's slipping tackles and some of the best speed that Southern Connecticut has to offer. Wilton has to call a timeout after that one, regroup, as they are down 17-0 here and can't afford to give up another big score with 3:25 left in the first half.
And I was singing the Wilton's praises, and I was saying how luck is going to turn their way. But this Rams offense, and really team especially, has taken over this game. And if they do go up even more, let's say a 24 with another touchdown, I would guarantee that this game is over. I expected a bigger push from Wilton, especially with their record and how great their season has gone. But the inexperience is showing, especially on the road in this environment of Dunning Stadium.
Hey, look, Wilton's defense has been solid all game. It's just been the offense that's been failing them. We saw it a few weeks ago, though, in the first half when the big game between Darien and Greenwich that Darien ended up winning. Darien was up 15 points early on in that one, 21-6, and Greenwich almost came back to win that one. This is a big game again between two FCAC heavyweights, and who knows, Wilton has a chance if they can get a stop here. Good stop on the run D. It's Christian Carson who's going to lose a couple on the run. He's going to instantly check out for fellow junior running back Hayden Shin. And it's great because all three of these guys, Shin, Carson, and Wise, are all juniors, and it's going to be interesting to see how they split the work between them after a full offseason's work next year. Pine looks left. Deep shot, wide open. Luke Morton, see ya. Touchdown Rams. Right in the bucket. 31-yard dime. No one on the back end, and it is Luke Morton, the senior wideout, who comes down with that one. Dylan, where did the breakdown happen there?
The breakdown, Ian, was the safeties going for the play-action pass. Drew had everyone coming in to get in on the run. The safeties bit. Morton went past him. Wide open touchdown, New Canaan.
As Morton's second biggest catch on the year, he has a 33-yarder. That one will go for 28 in the score. His second touchdown grab on the year for the senior on senior night. Nick Radman, as always, reliable on the extra points, and the Rams extend their dominant lead even further in this one. 24 Rams, nothing Warriors, with 2:50 left to go in half number one.
And this is not a result that we really thought, We thought that this would be a close, back-and-forth, high-scoring game, but we were surprised anything can happen in football, as Coach Lou Marinelli told us today. And the Rams are now at 24-0. They look to have full control of this game. Wilton is going to have to put up a touchdown here in the last 2:50.
And a second look at that catch. And he just got absolutely wide open. Looks like somewhat of a post route. Really good route run from the senior, exposing a one-on-one matchup. We haven't seen a lot of Luke Morton down the field this year. He sticks to those short, quick hitches, quick slant plays. Try to get it to him, within close to the line of scrimmage. But there, they let him fly. He gets rave reviews in practice. Some people tell me he's the fastest guy on the field. We really haven't seen it this year, but on that play, we do. A 28-yard score for the senior wideout. This return doesn't go too far. He's pile driven back to inside the 20, but forward progress is going to get him up to the 22-yard line. Co-captain Jack Finnegan, one of the numerous Rams all over Wilton's return man. Yeah! Wilton still has one timeout left in this one, in the first half, I should say. 2:42 left. They don't get the ball at the half, so Jimmy O'Brien and co. have to move the ball here and get into scoring territory. They're going to go trips right. O'Brien looks that direction. Plenty of time. Takes a shot. 1v1, and it slips right out of the hands of Dean Ciencio, who breaks that one up. Your player of the game, but he pretty much threw it right to him, Dylan.
And a pick is a pick, okay? Jimmy O'Brien, he's trying to go downfield like he did last drive, trying to get the big completion, big addition to the drive. Didn't get that one. He's trying to put that one in the air, and they're going to have to do that if they have any chance coming back at this one.
And he also took one heck of a shot from one of the Rams defenders on that one, gearing up for that deep pass, and that was the reason why the ball sailed over his wideout's head. 2nd and 10 here from a 23-yard line. He's going to roll left. Looks like they tried to set up a QB option, and instead he runs right into Ethan Shallon. Shallon had a sack earlier in this one, and my good friend is going to be talking about that one for far too long in chemistry class next week.
And I'm just questioning the thoughts of Wilton's offense right there. They're going to need a big addition, a big gain in this drive, and they're running a QB option, a play that they do not depend on in this season at all. I mean, Jimmy O'Brien, not the most horizontal quarterback. He's more of a guy who's going to throw the ball. He's not a guy who's going to run out of the pocket like a Drew Pine, like a Jake Thaw on Staples. So very questionable call there, and now sets up another 3rd and long.
He's going to look in one direction, bolt in another as pressure comes, and he slides out of the way of Braden Sweeney. Nothing there as pressure develops early on 3rd and 15, and Wilton is probably going to have to punt yet again, and they will.
And that's a wonderfully called timeout there by New Canaan. Yes, they're up 24-0, but it stops the clock at 1:32, makes Wilton punt, and gives Drew Pine and Co. another chance at another score.
Yeah, New Canaan does not want this game to slip away in any way possible. There's no way they're going to allow this game to get out of their hands and get out of their control. Call the timeout. Stay aggressive. Drew Pine, this run game, everyone has been red hot on this Rams offense, thanks to the support they've been given by a terrific defensive outing. And you got to give credit to the defense. Coach Marinelli was not happy with this team's effort last week on the defensive side of the ball, Dylan, giving up 28 points to a struggling Trumbull team. Talk to us about how Coach Marinelli felt about this unit heading into the game and the results they are providing in this game.
He felt that since the second half of Staples and through the Brian McMahon game, they had an amazing performance. But the Trumbull, a team that did not run the wing tee and a team that did not have a rookie quarterback and Thaw really, beat them up. It tore them apart. We see the long punt here by Wilton, which takes a Wilton bounce. But a team like Trumbull, who has a great offensive firepower, tore the Rams up and eventually scored 28, as you said, along with a blocked punt touchdown. So it's great to see in such a Wilton offense that is so powerful so far this season. The defense has stepped up and shut them out so far.
That was a terrific punt by Wilton senior John Duraco, went 48 yards. And even though New Canaan called a timeout, they're not going to have a whole lot of time to operate here with 1:17 and no timeouts left on the board. But we've seen a couple deep shots today. Hayden Shin and Luke Morton, the recipients of some Drew Pine downfield lasers. They've looked crisp. Maybe they could add to their growing lead. In this game, it doesn't give the Rams a shoo-in spot for a Class L playoff berth, but it would certainly go a heck of a lot of the way. Even if they win or lose against Darien on Turkey Bowl Thursday, this win means everything in their playoff chances. A give up the gut here to Drew Guida, his second carry of the game. It's going to give him 3 yards. They're not going to risk it with any big-time play here, it looks like, after that big punt. Gets him up to the 33 and sets up around 2nd and 7. Just under a minute left to go in half number 1, which has been all New Canaan Rams.
Very weird approach here by the Rams. They called the timeout to get themselves another offensive possession, but they don't seem to want to take advantage of it.
I don't think they were expecting that big a punt, and they're in some rough field position here. They're going to give it up the gut here to Johnny Wise, who will lunge his way up to the 39-yard line for a gain of 6 or 7. It will set up a 3rd and short, but most likely that's going to be the last play New Canaan runs, but it looks like they're looking at the sideline, so they might run one more play here, just for kicks. It goes as a gain of 7 for John Wise.
Watch a deep pass here, and I'm just feeling New Canaan will try to take a shot here.
And Wilton's not playing many guys back on the deep end, so who knows? There could be an opportunity. They go play fake. Pine backpedaling, and he will go down. Usually he's able to Houdini his way out of some of those situations, but he cannot escape the grasp of number 7, Michael Coffey, who's had himself a really solid game right now for Wilton, but outside of that, not much is going right for this Wilton team right now, Dylan. We expected a back-and-forth battle, but instead, with playoff hopes on the line, it is New Canaan on their home turf who has stepped up to the plate and is now up 24-0 as we'll send it up to the booth. And we're going to say this, your player of the game prediction, you said it usually isn't correct. And tonight, Dean Sancio has been pretty good. We haven't mentioned him a lot between the months, and he hasn't been burned a lot. But who's been the MVP of sorts for New Canaan in this game where it has been all New Canaan?
And I'm usually a guy who's wrong, okay? But now I can go off experience in the first quarter. A team that has done great on offense. I don't want to bring up the defense. They shut out for the first half. They shut out the Warriors, as we're going to bring you the scores around the FX soon. But my official first half MVP for the Rams has been Ethan Shallon.
And Andrew Morris, you got to count him in too. Now let's go to the around the FCX scores. Fairfield Ward is battling Brian McMahon, 14-6 at the half. Ward has the lead. Darien, who the Rams will face on Thanksgiving Thursday, we will cover that game with DAF Media, and it should be a good one. Darien is smoking Norwalk right now in Norwalk, 28-0. Trinity Wright Tech and Bridgeport Central, a battle between two teams with just one combined win. But it's a really good game. Trinity Wright Tech is up a point, and Ludlow Danbury is a great game right now. Two teams who were really not good last year who have been really good this year. And right now, it's a 4-point game at the half score, 14-10. From all of us here at NCTV, we will see you in the second half. Dylan Pescatore and Ian Nicholas. We will see you then. Scores 24 Rams, nothing Wilton.
ball's right. Short time I look. Oh, that might come. Watch the mouth.
Let's set up here. And we're back here for half number 2. The New Canaan Rams fighting for a playoff berth in Class L, or Class L, I should say. And they are surely giving it 150% right now, Dylan. We did not expect a game like this. Wilton has been absolutely shell-shocked by the Rams. The score is 24 New Canaan, nothing Wilton. Offense, terrific. Defense, terrific. Really, everything has been terrific. And we are going to head down right now to Austin Platt down on the sideline with a special field report. So let's send it down to a third member of our booth.
Hello, everyone. We're here at the second half as the Rams are up 24-0 over the Wilton Warriors. It is senior night, and the seniors are coming out strong. Drew Pines had a big game with a couple of touchdown passes and a touchdown run. And the defense, led by Chris Caratu, has helped out with the safety and several other special teams plays. We're going to get ready for the second half, so we'll send it up to Dylan and Ian in the booth.
Thanks so much, Austin, for that one. It's really been a game where we expected it to be a back and forth, Dylan, and instead, New Canaan, Drew Pine, Hayden Shin, Johnny Wise, the list of names, and defensively, Ethan Challen and Andrew Morris have all showed out in this one. That's going to be a short kick here. It's going to be fielded by Corey Pickering, who had a tackle earlier in this one, and number 99 gets the recovery on the short kick.
And Ian, how do you feel this Wilton offense is really going to respond after being shut out in the first half?
Well, how do I think they're going to respond? Well, Dylan, there's not much you can do when the vertical passing game isn't really clicking. They had one deep completion to Kyle Hissey, the senior, when they were down 17-0, but really ever since they haven't been able to get anything going. The run game isn't really an option here. They're not on offense right now. Drew Pine, who had 2 touchdown passes and a rushing score in the first half, is going to hope to capitalize, but Johnny Wise cannot capitalize on that carry there as he hits the deck. It's going to be a loss of a few yards on that one. Sweeney, Johnny goes nowhere. Johnny Wise losing a few yards. It's going to be a loss of 3 and set up a 2nd and 13 from the 27-yard line. Rams go trips left to the top of your screen. Johnny Wise to Drew Pine's left. Pine looking left, now looking over the middle of the field. He's going to roll right, lasers it, and a terrific pitching catch to Kyle Russell along the sideline. Gets it up to the 42-yard line at the gain of 14, 15 yards, and the first down for the senior receiver.
And that's just what you want to see from Drew. Gets the pressure in his face, rolls out, makes a wonderful throw to Kyle, who ran with Drew. As he rolls out to the right, Kyle knows that he has to come to the right as well, gets open, and he was open, but there's a flag on the Rams for an eligible receiver downfield.
The call is an illegal receiver downfield.
The call, Dylan, that is exactly the call, and a big-time play there gets him out of an early hole thanks to a rough run from Johnny Wise, but instead it's going to be 2nd and forever here. 2nd and 18 now from the 22-yard line thanks to that penalty. Kyle Russell targeted early in this game. It's been a mixed bag of results, but he's been one of the Rams' better receivers all year, really stepping up as a starter in his first year, legitimately getting reps on varsity. Pitch and catch to Christian Sweeney. Room to rumble in the flat, and he's out of bounds across the 30 to the 33-yard line. Give him a gain of 10 or 11. Get him in open space, and he can make plays. Had a touchdown catch earlier in this one, and he's still making plays.
The Rams are looking to put this one away here, Ian. Up 24-0 already. They're looking to drop at least a 30-burger on this one. Wilton's defense. I mean, you'd think they come out with some more energy after getting punched in the mouth, but they haven't really done that this year. They really have kept it close with a lot of teams, and they've really never been in this position, so it's tough to gauge how they will respond.
They set up the screen pass, and in the end, it's the big man, Matt Colvin, who nearly comes up with the interception. They ran that play early on in this one to Christian Carson, and it ended up picking up 24 yards in the first half. This time they run it for Johnny Wise on 3rd and 7, and Colvin reads it all the way. Great play from the junior lineman, and the Rams will go 3 and out to start half number 1. Nick Radman on the boot it for, I believe, his 3rd time tonight on the punt. 2 men back deep to return for Wilton. This one's a line drive, pretty good kick, backpedaling and returning inside the 35-yard line before he's slammed down to the ground by Guida and the junior Henry Canaan on that special team stop. Absolutely nowhere to go.
I mean, and a guy like Guida just came back from injury, and he's playing special teams when they're up 24-0. It just shows the championship mentality that Drew and the other captains have for this team as they lead this team to hopefully a playoff berth and hopefully even more.
All right, now these two battling out for FCX standings. And if New Canaan can keep it up, this win could go a long way. But Wilton has the ball back in their hands. Let's see if they can get something going. Man in motion. They're going to give it on the RPO, out wide on the slant to Domenico Polito. His first catch on the game, but there is a late flag.
And that was for an illegal hit, Ian, head-to-head. And another flag is thrown now.
Uh-oh, I feel like I'm getting flashbacks of Pittsburgh Browns last night. Thank gosh, this isn't escalating to an insane level, but a little bit of a rough hit there, and it looks like Wilton's going to get an extra boost. Maybe a free first down as Willie Perrone will check in for the Rams on the D-line as Alex Chur is going to check out. As the refs are discussing what happened there, it was actually Michael Coffey on the grab. And it is going to be a defensive penalty. And exactly right, it's going to be a free 15 yards at the end of the play, Dylan. You know, down 24-0, not a whole lot of hope, but really big boost right now for Wilton, getting themselves down the field.
I mean, they haven't had much success on offense so far. They need to capitalize right here if they have any hope of coming back in this one. They need to put up 7, go from there, and just realize that every score that they get, they need a defensive stop. The defense has been above average, I would say, this game. I mean, competing against an offense like Drew Pine and his company is tough already. Holding them to 24 in the first half. I mean, I feel like they play better than what the scoreboard shows as the officials meet here to go over the official ruling. The Wilton offense, it hasn't showed up. It's kind of like last week, how Trumbull's offense was great, but their defense was their weakness.
Coach Marinelli is not going to be happy about this one. Illegal head-to-head contact, and then you're going to get an additional unsportsmanlike conduct, and just like that, this is one of the biggest chunk plays Wilton's had all game. They move all the way up from their 35-yard line all the way to the Rams' 25. This is a huge boost for Wilton. We don't really know what happened on that one after the head-to-head contact. It looks like a couple of personal penalties flew on the Rams. Definitely not what you want to see on senior night. And another flag will fly, multiple ones. It's going to be a false start here as Wilton got a 23 yards, and this time they're going to get 5 taken off the board. Push them back to the 35-yard line.
I mean, we didn't see many penalties in the first half. We saw here and there pass interference, but in the second half, the team's there and they're tired. It's a cold night out. And the coaches, I mean, they're not going to be happy when they look at this on film on coming Monday.
1st and 15 at the 33-yard line. Looking right is O'Brien, Dean Ciencio, and Drew Guida are over to tackle the man after a pickup of 5 or 6 on the quick hitch play. That's going to be number 87, Ryan McDougall, the junior, on the catch. His first on the game. It's going to be an official pickup of 6 to the 27-yard line. It sets up 2nd and 9. Easy completion for O'Brien. It's going to be a give up the gut here to Phillips. Gets a solid second effort. And he's going to be close, but not close enough for a Warrior first down. That's going to be a gain of 8 to the 19-yard line as Wilton is in the red zone for the first time tonight. It's 3rd and 1. And it looks like Phillips, it was a guy they were trying to get involved early and often on the ground, through the air, and even making plays at corner on defense. They're going to need him to step up in a big way in the second half. They want to get back in this one. They're going to line up 2 tight ends. They end up giving it right back to Phillips. Will he have enough? Looks like he had just enough, but we're going to get an official ruling Swindell says that the Rams held, and he's going to be just enough for the first down. Big play from Drew Phillips on 3rd and 1, keeping this drive alive as Wilton looks to get on the board for the first time today. You know, it's been an up and down game for this offense, really a down game for this offense, but an up and down game for Jimmy O'Brien. He's thrown no TDs and no interceptions, even though he did have the safety. Not enough big plays downfield. They need to get aggressive here in the second half.
Absolutely, and I totally agree.
By snap, O'Brien, plenty of time, nowhere to go, slips a sack, another man misses, and he nearly connects on the sideline on the move with McDougal, who caught a pass earlier just a few plays ago for a pickup of 6.
Ian, you said it. Jimmy O'Brien, we talked about his stats, 16 touchdowns, 8 interceptions this season through 8 games, which is above average, I would really say. 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. But he's been very conservative and passive tonight. He hasn't tried to throw it as deep as he's done earlier this season. You know, they pride themselves on the deep plays, and they've made a few with Hizzy and Martinez. But if they want any success from this game and next game as they play Trinity, they're going to have to rely on the deep pass game, which is how they got to 6-2.
And it looks like Chris Caratu got a little scuffed up on that one. Need the bandage on a little bit of maybe a wound on the Rams' brand new jerseys, which they are revealing today. A little bit of a tune-up as Matt Benevento checks in at outside linebacker. O'Brien, laser to the end zone, and he's going to overthrow his man.
And
Really,
there's the flag,
no
Ian.
one there, but there's the flag.
Pass interference. Great call there by the officials, Ian. They saw that the wide receiver was pushed down by the DB. I'm pretty sure that was Zach LaPolice on the left side. That's a flag, and now Wilton will be in even better position to score.
Well, Dylan, that's why we have you. You're the eyes in the back. You're the eyes on the back of your head, and I was like, "Where's the receiver?" And you're like, "Zach LaPolice took him out of the play, maybe a little bit too well." But you got to give credit to LaPolice. He is playing terrific on really every single facet of the game: offense, defense, and special teams as a return man. And defensively, he has been. You know, we talked to Coach Marinelli, and Marinelli said he did not get any reps at all during the summer as a cornerback. And, you know, when Guida and Canaan and all the guys in secondary went down with injuries, they kind of asked Zach, we need you to step up and play ball. And that's exactly what he did. He's been a physical presence on the back end, and he's also pretty much eliminated Kyle Hizzy all night tonight outside of that one big catch down the field earlier in the game. 2nd and 2 from the 9 after the penalty. Give up the gut to Drew Phillips. He gets a second effort, and he is in. Wilton finally getting on the board from 9 yards out. It's the star running back, Drew Phillips, with his 9th rushing touchdown on the year. Wilton gets on the board with 8:36 left in the 3rd quarter.
And Wilton's bomb squad goes crazy, Ian. They are on the board, ready to explode on offense, as they will now kick the extra point. That is number 28, the kicker, Parker Woodring.
Woodring has a chance to get his first point on the game. Extra point is up. Plenty of leg on that one. Extra point is good. It's a 3-possession game here as the Warriors are back in it with the Drew Phillips 9-yard touchdown run. His 9th on the year.
And now we'll go to replay, Ian. Phillips here, they ran it from about the 9-yard line. And something that I thought they were going to pass to Hizzy, a tall receiver that the Rams had trouble guarding earlier in the game, but Phillips finds this hole to the right, makes a nice inside move, dodging the tackle there by Finnegan, gets in. Wilton now on the board, 24-7 Rams.
We've seen his ability after contact today. He came up with a big first half conversion on 3rd down. A quick catch and run. He's a physical runner. You tried to intimidate him, or you tried to impersonate him in the booth right now, but we don't have his kind of moves, to say what it is.
Of course not, Ian. We're not athletes. We're not on the field like you once were back in your days of a football player.
Of JV football, yes.
Ian, trying to give you some credit here. But the moves by Drew Phillips are second to none. Maybe you can compare him with an athlete like Jake Hall from Staples.
On a return here is Christian Sweeney, and he finds a great lane. Really great return right up the gut. Give credit to the Rams special team blocking. He gets it all the way up to the 46-yard line.
And that's how you cut the momentum of a Wilton dead to rights, Ian. You think that they will come back, and New Canaan just keeps putting it down Wilton's throat, that they will not come back, and that the New Canaan Rams, will finish this game on the winning end.
Second big return on the game for the Rams. You got a close-up of Coach Pearson. Pearson, the running back coach, JV head coach, and he is the guy who signals in all the plays that Dan Farina gives from on top of the press box here at Dunning. 1st and 10 at the 45-yard line. Pine is going to get an RPO here, but the pass is batted incomplete. That's going to be Kyle Hizzy on the defensive side of the ball who breaks it up.
Great play there by Hizzy. Tall D-back, who also plays wide receiver. Jumped up like a center there, getting a rebound. Batted that pass out of the air, and now the Rams are forced to a 2nd and 10.
Interesting play call there. They went with the RPO. Pine decides to keep it. Looking for the quick screen, and just a really great play from Hizzy. Jumping up and reading that one. Believe that's his second pass breakup of the game. Pine, plenty of time. Deep shot over the middle of the field, and it is nearly intercepted right through the hands of Dan Sullivan, the senior for Wilton. That ball overthrown and inaccurate over the middle. Pine could not connect, and he's lucky he didn't end up with his 6th pick of the game.
And that was a chance for Wilton to come back, really get this momentum going, maybe make it a 2-score game. But got to make those plays when you're in the football field. It came right to him, Shulman, that is. And now the Rams are forced into a long 3rd and 10.
Miscues have set the Rams up in a tough spot here. Pine's going to roll right, and he connects. Huge 3rd down conversion. 1st down and more. Second big play of this drive from Kyle Russell. His first was ruled, was taken back after a penalty. But this time, Russell gets back in stride, makes the big time play for the senior receiver who you praise so often.
And I picked him as player of the week about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and now he's finally making me correct.
Rams' 3rd leading receiver, and he will head next season to Franklin Marshall College, where he will star in lacrosse, but also great play for the Rams. On the gridiron.
Here he is
Speak
again.
of the devil, here he is. Solid first move. He's rumbled to the ground by Trevor Martinez alongside John DeRocco on the tackle. It's going to be a pickup of 5 or 6 on the quick hitch. Officially a gain of 5 to the 35. It sets up 2nd down. Wilton trying to get a stop here as Hayden Shin is checked into the backfield for the Rams. To Drew's right. They try to get him with the hard count. They'll go back to the sideline and check into a new play. Rams with 2 receivers to each side of the line. Pine's going to look right. Pressure comes. He breaks the sack, breaks another, and Pine will take off. And he will get just enough for the first and a bit more to the 28-yard line. That's a gain of 7 as Pine shows off the legs yet again and makes another big-time conversion.
Ian, I feel like I'm watching a video game with this guy. They cannot tackle him. It's almost like it's just not possible. I mean, he gets away from so many great defenders. We'll see it once again. The athleticism of Pine as he steps up in the pocket, gets away from the D-back, breaks the tackle there, rushes away from Colvin there, D1 commit soon to be, and gets the 1st down.
That's a pickup of 6, just enough and a little bit more for the 1st down. Quick ball here. Looks like a little bit of a miscommunication on the RPO. And look at the effort from Christian Sweeney, getting it all the way down inside the 15 to the 12-yard line on that 17-yard catch and run over the middle for the big-bodied receiver. Already has a touchdown catch on the game. He's got a touchdown in each of the last 2 games. Had nearly 70 yards off 5 catches in the score last week versus Trumbull. They're going to go to the hurry-up offense here. Hard count doesn't work. Christian Carson's now in the game at running back to Pine's left. They spot him at the 15, so it goes as a gain of 12 for Sweeney as they rolled him down before the extra contact at the end of that catch. Lopolice in motion, and they will give it to him off the jet sweep. But say hello to Michael Coffey. The junior read that one from a mile away. That's the 2nd time the Rams have run it today, and the 2nd time it's been shut down for a loss.
And you know, Ian, they've run the shovel pass for the play. They've run it for a fake, which Coach Lou Marinelli told us about earlier. today. But that was a great defensive play by Coffee. And Wilton has momentum here. 2nd and 17. They're trying to keep the Rams out of field goal range.
Pine scanning. He's going to step up from more Wilton pressure and laser this one to a wide open Zach LaPolice. He extends for that one, and LaPolice just can't come up with it. Not the best ball from Drew, and, Lapo's not the biggest guy, but a catch he should have had, but took a tough shot when he hit the turf, and that one is not a 22-yard touchdown.
Great effort there by LaPolice, but I think the blame has to be on Pine there. He was on the run, of course, which always makes it tough, even if you're a Notre Dame commit like Drew is. But he's going to learn to make those throws as he progresses as a quarterback. But he's going to have to make those throws in big games. We've seen him do it before. He was just a little bit off on that one.
3rd down as Pine is intercepted. He never saw the underneath defender. Looking for Christian Sweeney in a big-time return here for Wilton. It's John DeRocco, and he's going to go all the way. Wilton is back in this one. There's no flags. Drew Pine is on the ground in disbelief. That is a Wilton touchdown. 14 unanswered points pending a PAT, but it's John DeRocco, the Wilton Warriors' leading tackler, with the pick 6.
Ian, Wilton is back. I talked about the momentum swings going back and forth. They are now within 10 points of this game. This game is not even close to over with just 5 minutes left in the 3rd. They have plenty of time to get back into this one. The Rams will, and I'm telling you, I guarantee this, Ian, they will suffer from not gaining more points from 24-0 at that halftime. They called the timeout and they went passive. And this is what happens when you go passive.
Momentum is a beautiful thing. We came up to the box and we didn't know what kind of game we were going to get in the second half, Dylan. But Wilton, a team that's really been solid all year round, as the PAT is good. We didn't expect them to really make a run in the second half of this game. We have to get a second look at that terrific play from John DeRocco. Pine looks for a seemingly wide open Christian Sweeney over the middle of the field, and here's DeRocco. Give credit to Wilton as they reacted instantly. Terrific blocking downfield, and the great thing you like to see, no penalty flags. Luke Morton makes a last-ditch effort. DeRocco, undersized, but not undervalued by this Wilton team. He's a leader, leading tackler, also a punter, and he's gotten some run as a running back. I don't want to say he's a Drew Guida of this team, but he's making those kind of game-changing like plays. It's a 10-point game, and if New Canaan's offense doesn't put up something soon, who knows? Hopefully Jimmy O'Brien and co can get hot. It's 24-14 right now.
And Ian, what a great play by DeRocco. Pine just didn't see him over the middle of the field. Picked him off, ran it all the way back. This is a new game, Ian. Do not count out this Wilton team that has been counted out all season long.
Wilton hasn't gotten the wins against some of the teams New Canaan has. They've played a lot of teams from out of conference. Really great kick here from Parker Woodring. That's going to go for a touchback to the 20, something you don't see too often in high school football. But a solid kick takes a good bounce as New Canaan will set up at the 20. Heading into the half with a ton of confidence after a great half on both sides of the ball. But in this second, it has been all Wilton. With a Drew Phillips rushing score earlier on in the quarter from 9 yards out. And then that pick 6 from John DeRocco shutting down a promising Rams drive in its tracks. Pine throws his first pick in the last 5 games. Last 3 games.
Ian, he played great against Ryan McMahon and Trumbull, but finally a defense that really takes pride in their pass defense picks him off, and this is a new game.
Second and 10 here with just under 5 minutes left in quarter number 3. Pine's going to keep it himself. Breaks a tackle. Still stays alive. Really good effort on the run there. Just short of a first down on 2nd and 10. He'll set him up with a 3rd and short. And they are really making an effort to get Drew more involved in the run game as New Canaan is going to dial up a play here. Pine goes to the sideline to communicate with Coach Pearson. and get the play. This is a really big third down conversion here. Dylan, they're probably going to go to the run game. It's been working for them all night with numerous runners from Pine, the Carson, the Shin,
Jumbo
to
set
Wise.
here,
They're
Ian.
going to go jumbo set, give up the gut. It's Johnny Wise, and it looks like he has just enough for a first. Let's see on the official ruling from the refs. Might be just short. Let's see.
Might have to bring out the chains here, Ian.
It is Johnny Wise on the carry. Oh, reliable.
They give it to him, Ian.
You have to give it to your best playmaker in a situation like that, and he comes up big with the first down. Really critical play for the Rams, getting some momentum back in this one. Pine is going to give it. He's going to keep it again. He really hasn't been afraid to let his legs shine in this one. But this time, nowhere to go. Stopped at the line of scrimmage. Maybe a gain of a yard. And again, no other than Drew Phillips on the stop for Wilton. Starring on both sides of the ball.
And he has been flying around today, Ian. He is on both sides of the ball, as you said. An absolute game changer on offense and defense for the Warriors.
2nd and 10, no gain on the run from Pine. He's going to look right here, find a wide open Kyle Russell, wrapped up out of bounds by Martinez for a gain of 7 or 8 for number 8.
And it's going to be another 3rd and short here, Ian. I want to see how Golden, number 79, and this Wilton D-line takes a new approach to maybe another read option, triple option that the Rams ran last time on 3rd and 1.
The Rams are going to bring in another jumbo set here. You already see Chris Caratu, Justin Villeneuve. Zach LaPolice is going to line up close here, and Christian Carson is the lone back behind Drew Pine. Let's see what they dial up here. They put Lapo in motion. They're going to run that same play, this time to Carson. And
He didn't get it, Ian.
you don't think he got it. Let's see. Maybe he had just enough. And
Generous spot. Very generous spot. But good job battling for the first down by Carson.
You're not in agreement, but the refs are just inches away, and they're going to give him just enough for a first down. Back-to-back, really big third down conversions for the Rams on the ground game.
And that's big for the Rams because they're just taking a shot after shot at the Wilton defense's core.
1st and 10 from the 41-yard line. They're going to go trips left as Pine play fakes it to Wise. Pressure comes, but Zach LaPolice wide open. See you later. He's going to go all the way for the Rams touchdown. Talk about a Rams response. That's a 49-yard catch and run. Just got right behind every single one of the Wilton Warriors secondary, Dylan. How'd that happen?
Ian, that happened because of the play action. We saw the runs early in this drive by Wise and Carson, which set up the Wilton secondary to jump up, and even 1 or 2 steps can create that space for LaPolice to speed past him. Wide open, touchdown Rams. They now lead 31-14.
And the Rams getting their lead back up to 3 possessions if Nick Radman can nail yet another extra point. And he will score 31 Rams, 14 Warriors, as Drew Pine and co. respond perfectly to the interception by finding Zach LaPolice on a huge chunk play down the field for 49 yards.
And we see it here in secondary bites up. Hizzy, of course, and McDougal, and LaPolice just races past them into the end zone.
His speed, such an underrated part. I don't think it's underrated anymore. I think the SCAC is on notice now. But something you never saw last year because he ran a lot of routes short and over the middle of the field. But as the new number 1 this season, they're getting him more and more involved down the field. They have to push the ball down the field still in today's day and age. And LaPolice, despite the lack of size, is really just a turbojet down the field. Re-extending the lead to 17 points. As Wilton came out hot with 2 touchdowns to start the third quarter. 1 on offense, 1 on defense. But luckily, Zach LaPolice and crew responded perfectly. As Pine has his 3rd total touchdown on the game. And that is a really great kick from Nick Radman. It takes an awkward bounce inbounds, and it'll end up going for a touchback. First and 10 at the 20 after the touchback with 2:25 left in the quarter. High snap here to O'Brien. It's a give up the gut to no other than Drew Phillips, who picks up 1 yard and 2 with not a lot of room to rumble. Running behind Matt Colvin, but really nothing there. Chris Caratu, who has been quiet as a pass rusher over the last few games, but has made a couple of really great plays at the line of scrimmage tonight, makes another big play.
And his play is really not appreciated because he's more of a run stuffer rather than a guy who's going to drop into coverage.
A play fake here. Looking for the big-time shot. Pressure in his face. Just a heave and an interception, but there is a flag on the play. This is probably going to go back.
And look who it is, Ian.
But it's your player of the game candidate, Dean Ciencio, who's out of the 21-yard line. Don't get too hyped too early. I'm pretty sure this one is going to be a holding or a push on Drew Guida, and this is going to be potentially a really big gain for Wilton, despite the excitement from New Cannon's fans
there,
and
Ian.
you.
You know, I almost had that prediction right. I've been wrong all season, but pass interference is called on New Canaan. Blatant call. Pushed them down to the ground, as we saw a lot of police earlier in the game. In the red zone, Wilton gets a big chunk of yards, as they did before on their scoring drive, and they have life once again.
You know, last week we credited New Canaan, even throughout their wins and losses this year, something that's remained the constant in a season with so many different variables is they really haven't been as penalized as they have in years past. They've played really clean football this season, but today they've just had a really personal penalties, face masks, not face masks, there was the helmet penalty early on, which led to a big gain for Wilton, and then a couple of pass interferences. It's really been a rough game discipline-wise for the Rams.
And Ian, as we see Jimmy O'Brien rushing to his right, throwing, and a great catch there by McDougal for about 9 to 10 yards.
And it looks like it will be just enough for a Wilton first down on the designed rollout, easy completion in the flat.
Ian,
it's a first.
Lou Marinelli football teams are told one quote when they take a lot of penalties. We saw it last year a lot with that team. But this team hasn't been really taking that many penalties. But in this game, it's a different story. They say, or coach says, of course, when you take penalties, you shoot yourself in the foot.
O'Brien hit as he throws. He got shot there, but
Is he?
he's able to hook up with Kyle Heisey on that one. Really great catch from number 15. He had that big shot early on in the game, and he finally gets re-involved here. Really big play across midfield. It's going to get him all the way to the 37-yard line for a 25-yard gain.
Trips right here as Brian drops back, goes deep downfield. He has McDougal, but it is picked. There it is.
And it is Dean Ciencio. Thanks for stealing the call, Dylan. But there you go. I mean, maybe not player of the game worthy, but one heck of an interception from Dean Ciencio.
Brian tried to force it downfield. He wanted a big completion. Tried his best at an open McDougal, which a pass that definitely would have went for a lot if it was more of a line drive pass rather than a rainbow floated up pass. He was wide open over there on the right sideline. But Dean Ciencio, he came up, jumped up, smaller guy. He's only about 5'4", as we see here. He was wide open, McDougal was on the sideline, but he floated that one. McDougal had no shot. Ciencio picks it off, and the Rams now have the ball inside their own 2-yard line.
Yeah, hopefully they don't get a safety of their own here, but luckily they have a terrific running game that could probably get them out of this sticky situation. And it's going to be a give up the gut here. Not a whole lot of room, maybe a yard or two. Hopefully maybe Wilton's defense can get a stop here, get the ball right back. But definitely not what you want to see. Wilton's really shown one heck of a fight here in the second half, but they're still making those mistakes that plagued them in the first. As O'Brien throws his first interception of the game. It gains a yard on the run with just under a minute left to go in the third quarter of this back-and-forth FCX matchup. A little bit of room to rumble here on the carry. It's going to be Johnny Wise yet again, a pickup of about 5 up to the 9 or 10 yard line.
And Ian, we see a lot of Carson, and we see a lot of shin with that great catch before. Carson getting big chunks of yards too. But this is a team that has so many options that they can afford not using Wise so much as they did early in the season. He had 2 4-touchdown games each. But coming off an injury, they want to slow it down, gradually get him into the game, and they've done just that today.
And we're going to go back to our Around the FCX scores. The Rams are up 31-14 here, defending their home turf. But let's see how the rest of the FCX is doing. Ward still has the lead on Brian McMahon. 2 teams the Rams have beaten this year. The score is 28-12. Meanwhile, Darien defeated Norwalk on Norwalk's turf at Testa Field, 40-0. The Blue Wave will be undefeated heading into their Turkey Bowl game on Thanksgiving morning. Trinity Wright Tech got their first win of the season last year, and the Crusaders look for win number 2 on the road up against the Bridgeport Central Hilltoppers, 21-13. And still in the third quarter, Ludlow on the road against Danbury, 2 really good up-and-coming teams. Score is still 14 Ludlow, 10 Danbury.
And Ian, let's talk about that game, Ludlow against Danbury. 2 teams that really didn't have much expectations coming into this year. Surprised everyone in the FCX, especially Ludlow with our guy Aiden Blank over there. Hopefully they don't pull that one out because our bet is still on, and they only need 2 more wins to get to that 7 mark. Of course, Danbury, a team that has a lot of talent, especially Malachi Hopkins at wide receiver. And those are 2 teams that really surprised me this year, especially when I did my FCX predictions. And, I'm excited for this fourth quarter as we start right now.
Pine. Play fake. He's going to keep it himself on the keeper. Will he have enough for the first is the question. Probably not. Just short on a 3rd and 4. As Nick Rabin in a punting unit will come back out again. Good stop for Wilton's defense early on in the 4th. They will be punting from inside their own end zone here as their drive stalls at a 3 and out as they were backed up at their own 2, and the Rams only get 8 yards on the drive following the Dean Ciencio interception. Here's the boot from Radman. It will be fielded really nicely at the 40-yard line, but a really great play on special teams by Walker Swindell, another key starter who is selflessly playing great ball on special teams.
Along with Drew Guida, Ian, we talk about just how versatile this team is. We have multiple players playing on multiple sides of the ball, including Will Perone, and we have Drew Guida, we have Zach LaPolice. There's so many players that are open to play on both sides of the ball just to help this team succeed.
Well, they have succeeded as of late, looking for win number 5 in a row and win number 7 on the year. It's going to be a draw play up the gut here to Drew Phillips. He's wrestled down after a solid gain of 7 up to the 33-yard line.
Ian, that looked like a face mask to me, but the officials did miss that one. We saw Hinsey try to call for a penalty, but the officials did not see it.
They're going to end up giving him 5 yards to the 35-yard line. It sets up 2nd and 5 with just under 11 minutes left to go in the 4th quarter. Phillips has really been the rock that's been his team has rode on the entire game. Maybe they'll split him out wide like they did earlier on in this one, get some more big plays. And it's going to be a false start on Wilton. New Canaan stayed disciplined, and Wilton's own guys did not, even though they all know the snap count. Big-time game in the 4th quarter. They make a big flaw. It's going to push him back to the 40 for a 2nd and 10.
And that was number 79, Matthew Colvin Jr., who actually decided that, he took the false start penalty and actually hit himself in the head because he knows better.
The 5th best-ranked player in Connecticut for the class of 2020, the junior class, Colvin, is a talent, a must-watch player on the O-line. It's a play fake here on the RPO. A really nice shot from Drew Guida, but holding on and making that big-time catch over the middle of the field is Michael Coffey. That's going to be just short of a first down, a 9-yard connection. Solid window throw there from O'Brien. It picks up 9 yards all the way up to the 31-yard line for a 3rd and 1.
And along with Martinez and Hinsey, Coffey is a great player. He has great ability to not only catch it, but also get yards after the catch.
And holding on after that tight hit. Rams look like they're going to bring pressure as they'll give it up the gut here to Drew Phillips. And he extends for a first down, keeping the drive alive with just over 9.5 minutes left to go here. as Wilton's looking to get back on the board, down 17 points in a must-win game for both sides. Scanning, O'Brien, he finds his man, breaking the tackle, almost his coffee, but holding on and preventing a touchdown is Walker Swindell, but there is a flag. It's going to be number 72, Kieran O'Neill, the sophomore lineman, I believe their left tackle, who knew he made the fatal flaw on that one. This one's going to push him back a lot. Trying to word that one differently. Who knows what that penalty was. It doesn't look like it was just a hold because it's going to push him all the way back to the 44-yard line here. 1st and 26, a once really promising drive, and it's going to push him back. They're going to need a couple of chunk plays here to get back in scoring territory. And there's the whistle as play is officially resumed, and the clock dwindles. 22 seconds and counting on the play clock. Here's O'Brien. He'll step up from pressure, breaks a sack, and runs right into a sandwich.
The ball is out, Ian. New Canaan has it.
Loose. Ethan Shallon signals NC ball. And it is New Canaan's football. Alex Schur alongside Corey Pickering. And officially coming up with it is no other than Chris Caratu. Huge play for NC's defense, their second straight turnover. Caratu forces them to step up, and it's a gut shot from Morris, but it's going to be Ethan Shallon, I believe your player of the first half, if I'm not mistaken, who makes that huge hit. He's having a career game right now.
Absolutely, and from pressuring the quarterback to finally getting the ball out of O'Brien's hands as he tried to do a spin move into a place where really he didn't know where he was going. Couldn't handle the ball. He doesn't seem like a guy who likes to run a lot, but I mean he's doing a lot because he's forced to by this pressure of the NCD line.
Give up the gut to John Wise, and he's going to lose about a yard on that one. And Shallon, a guy who's really always been a bit of an undersized guy, but really from sophomore to junior year, I really saw the growth in him, not just physically, but from a mental standpoint. He is one of the most fundamentally sound defensive linemen New Canaan has. He's gotten a lot bigger, a lot stronger, and tonight he's really having himself a heck of a game. He's forcing O'Brien to move places he doesn't want to go. That's going to be a false, it's going to be an encroachment on number 4, Dominique Polito. That's going to be a free 5 yards for New Canaan. Going to set up 2nd and 5 at the 50-yard line. And as you mentioned, not much of a runner O'Brien is. 22 carries on the year, just 46 yards and a touchdown. Not a quarterback really built to run, the wishbone offense they ran last year, or really a mobile quarterback offense. Pine, deep shot, wide open, Kyle Russell. But at the end of that one, he's checked. A really great play on defense from, I believe, Trevor Martinez.
Great job there by Russell and Martinez battling out, but I felt like that ball was a little bit underthrown. Russell had to come back for it, and Martinez was there for the breakup.
Drew's been up and down on deep shots tonight, but it's good to see that they're taking so many shots down the field that you kind of forget about the misses. From the Luke Morton shot, the Hayden Shinbaum, and then the Zach LaPolice phaser. When you're having big-time completion after completion, you're going to forget about the misses. Big-time catch here for Christian Sweeney across midfield to the 39-yard line. It's going to pick up about 11 and a first down for New Canaan. He's having himself quietly a really good game with a touchdown catch, and he's been all over the field.
Meaning you talked about it, the deep throws is huge. And I talked about it earlier in this game. Then New Canaan's going to have to take deep throws during the season because they haven't done it much this year. Deep throws have been their number one threat this game, and it has worked for them most likely.
Pine keeps it on the read option. He slips a tackle, and Drew is gone. His second rushing touchdown of the game. Drew Pine is in the zone. A 40-yard rushing touchdown from Pine. Beautiful play on the keeper. Great blocking. Easy scores. New Canaan extends the lead to 23 points. And we really have not seen New Canaan run this many design run plays for Drew Pine in a while. It's great to see that, even when he's not on his game passing, which he is tonight outside of the interception, they're really using Drew in as many ways as possible. And he's showing a side of his game we haven't seen in a long time.
I feel like I'm watching a different New Canaan offense this week. We saw a little bit of this a few weeks ago as we're going to watch this touchdown by Drew once more. He keeps the ball on the read option, a play that they're starting to run even more. He sees the D linemen coming in, runs it to the outside, beats his man, that's Dominique Piloto, number 4, and then just scampers into the end zone with those gold cleats showing, knowing that he's the one who just made an amazing play.
Drew looks like that. At the beginning of the year, we didn't see the Drew Pine we'd grown to know and love as a state championship contending quarterback, a guy who won it in his freshman year, and a guy who brought the Rams back to the state championship game last season. He didn't look like that kind of guy, frankly, through the first half of this year, but the Rams are using him in ways where we haven't seen this kind of talent from Drew showcased on the field in a while. Coach Farina, is a first-year offensive coordinator, and he's finally starting to put the pieces together. When we talk to Coach Marinelli, he's always praising how this receiving core opens up the offense. Drew Guida's opened up the offense. The running game is as versatile as it's ever been, and Drew Pine looks as versatile as he's ever been as well. Really big return here from number 35, Jacob Sommer, the sophomore running back, gets it out to around the 40-yard line. Solid play for the Wilton special team unit. It's 38 Rams, 14 Warriors. The Rams have re-extended their lead to 24 points. That's going to be a holding, though, on Wilton, so the big-time return is going to go back with 7:52 left in the fourth quarter.
And there's a team, I talked about the Rams offense, that offense has really opened up throughout the last few weeks. Early in the season, we know that their running team, Johnny Wise, had 2 games with 4 touchdowns, and that's insane. And then Drew Pine comes back last week with a 5-touchdown game. Anyone can take over the game on this team and take the Rams to victory, from Pine to Lapo to Wise, and even the defense, really.
And a new quarterback is in. Jimmy O'Brien is out as they get the completion. Out to Ryan McDougal. And in is sophomore Grant Masterson for the Wilton Warriors. So it looks like the night of Jimmy O'Brien is done, as they're going to go to the sophomore quarterback Masterson on the season, the second leading passer on this team. He's played in 5 games and has completed 7 of 12 passes. Here's Masterson again, connecting on the outside, breaking a tackle. Beautiful move cross midfield at a 48-yard line on the 17-yard catch and run is Trevor Martins, the junior, who also stars at corner. And Masterson, 7 of 12 for 70 yards on the year with a 75 quarterback rating along of 20 yards through the air.
Great pass there by Masterson. He found the linebacker on the outside, Matthew Benevento, found his receiver, and the receiver just ran past the linebacker.
And that's going to be a false start after the big play from Wilton. It's going to push them back 5 yards to their own territory at the 46. Officially, a 16-yard catch and run from Martins, who has started on both sides of the ball for Wilton at corner and at wideout. Masterson and Cove are going to go trips right. He's going to roll right. And he's going to find his man. McDougal makes a great catch in 1v1 coverage. Again, Matt Benevento makes a good play in coverage, and he only picks up about a yard or 2 with Benevento drapes all over him.
And I compare this to how Rob Gronkowski made a living in the NFL. He made a living not off going against cornerbacks and safeties, but going against linebackers who he knew he was faster than, ran past him, and he had the size advantage, and made a living off that.
Pressure on Masterson. He avoids the rush from Matt Benevento and Ethan Shallon and gets away for a gain of 2 or 3 yards up to the 47-yard line. That's going to be roughly a gain of 2 or 3 and sets him up with a 3rd and 8. .6:30 left to go in quarter number 4 as New Canaan is on the verge of getting their 7th win on the year and their 5th win in a row. Up 24 points. Big third down here. Masterson over the middle of the field, and that pass is incomplete, probably looking for Martins, and he couldn't find him in traffic.
Yeah, Martinez almost had that one, Ian. Masterson, he had to throw, and he just put it above him. And now Wilton will be forced to
Go for it.
go for it here on a 4th and 8.
They're going to go bunch formation to the top of the screen on 4th and 8 from the 47-yard line. They need to get to the 39 for a first down. Deep shot from Masterson, and it is incomplete, wildly overthrown. Looking down the left sideline for Dan Sullivan. Walker Swindell, Jack Finnegan, Zach Lapolice and co. celebrating after they get another great stop on defense. And it's Friday Night Lights, and that's terrific always to cover these kinds of games. But tomorrow, we got some big games on the horizon as well. Staples St. Joe's trumbles West Hill. But the big game in those 3 matchups, Richfield Greenwich, a battle between 2 teams, 2 of some of the best teams in the FCAC. Greenwich beat the Rams in the state championship last year, and Richfield beat the Rams earlier on in the year 17-14. That should be a great one, Dylan.
And I cannot wait. I will be in attendance watching that game from the stands, and it just seeing how great FCAC football really is, as 2 powerhouses will be going up once again against each other in Greenwich.
And Greenwich responded to losing to Darien a few weeks ago with a big-time win over Trinity Catholic last week.
Absolutely.
Really
Tough
solid.
environment to play in, and Greenwich came back and really put the beating there on Trinity Catholic.
2nd and 10 here, just under 6 minutes left to go at the 47-yard line. Trips left, bottom of the screen. Pine, play fake, looking outside, and it's Christian Sweeney yet again, slipping 1 tackle, slipping another, and finally rumbling all the way down to the 32-yard line. That's a 25-yard catch and run. One word to describe him, rack. He just makes it, gets it done after the catch. Play fake to Shin. Just quick outs time and time again. At 6'3" and over 200 pounds, he's a mismatch nightmare for these cornerbacks and safeties to tackle. It took 3 guys. Finally, superstar Drew Phillips had to come down and wrestle him to the ground.
Definitely, and Drew Phillips has played a great game, and I feel like he's the MVP of the Warriors so far this game.
And it's going to be Hayden Shin up the gut for a gain of 4 as sophomore Jake Somers, number 35, gets a tackle.
Another guy who plays both sides of the field.
Yes. Plays a little bit of running back as well as linebacker in some of their base packages. They're going to go trips right here. Morton isolated to the bottom of the screen. And Hayden Shin still at Drew Pine's right. High snap. Pine corrals it. And wide open over the middle of the field is Christian Sweeney yet again. He's having himself a career night right now for the junior receiver who could become the Rams' new number 1 next year when Zach Lapolice heads off to college. Big shoes to fill after the breakout year from Lapo.
Absolutely, and they don't have to use him at running back anymore because they already have a 3-headed monster over there. They can just put him at wide receiver. He's done great in the slot this season.
Just over 4 minutes left to go as the Rams had a 24-0 halftime lead. It's been a back-and-forth first half, 14 points for each of these teams in the second half. Wilton give the Rams a little bit of a scare earlier on in the third quarter, but the team has rebounded for 2 more scores of their own. Hayden Shin up the gut here. He gets it up to the 17-yard line for a pickup of 3 for the junior running back. A little bit hobbled on that play is Willie Perrone, but Perrone battling through, a lot of injuries. He's a big guy. Probably should get out of the game. He's been putting in a terrific effort tonight, playing both sides of the ball. At left guard and at defensive tackle with Matt Reggione out. 3:15 left in this one as they're going to put LaPolice in motion. And they're going to give it to Lapo off the jet sweep. Terrific blocking on the outside. Finds the lane, and LaPolice is out of bounds of the 9-yard line for an 8-yard gain. And he gets just enough for a first down. It'll set up a first and goal opportunity for the Rams. And they could get a late touchdown here to extend this lead even farther.
And Ian, I'm going to give you another stat here. When the Rams do score here, as they feel that they will, and they put up 40 points, this will be the third straight game that they drop 40.
Thank you for the instant analysis, Dylan. That is right. They have had some terrific offensive outings, dropping 42 against Brian McMahon, 48 last week up against Trumbull. Pine, plenty of time here on the play fake. 1v1 ball to the end zone, and it is incomplete. Looking for Zach LaPolice. Great coverage from Trevor Martins. It's broken up. Actually, it's Drew Phillips all over the field, draped on Zach LaPolice. He's had one heck of a game. As LaPolice is just adjusting his glove there. Looks like he has a bit of a technical malfunction. 1v1 ball. Really great pass breakup. Clean play. Looks back for the ball. No illegal contact in sight. Not the best ball from Pine, so Phillips was able to adjust and break on that one. Second and 8 from the 8. 3 trips again. Trips right, I should say. Give up the gut to Hayden Shin. Shin gets it up to the 6-yard line. That's going to be a gain of 2 yards. Sets up 3rd and 6 from the goal line. Who knows, maybe we'll see Nick Radman come out for potentially his first field goal attempt of the game. The Rams have scored 5 touchdowns, one with a 2-point conversion early on in this one, Christian Sweeney, and got an early safety thanks to an Andrew Morris pressure that led to an intentional grounding on quarterback Jimmy O'Brien. We're going to go dual set here with Sweeney and Shin at running back. They give it to Hayden, and he has absolutely nowhere to go as Kyle Heisey makes a play on defense. He's been very active on offense tonight, but Heisey wrapping up Shin for a loss of a few. And they're just going to let clock roll here with just under 2 minutes left in this one. They're not sending Nick Radman out. Maybe they'll call a timeout right before the play clock ends. But for now, we're going to stay on the field. Play clock at 20. And that looks like exactly what they're going to do. They're going to wait all the way till the play clock goes down to 1, which will be in 4 seconds and counting. And they're going to use their first time out of the half. And that's exactly what they do. New Canaan will call the timeout. And with 1:17 left in this one, when this one is wrapped up, and the Rams will advance to 7-2 before their final game of the year, up against the Darien Blue Wave, undefeated. Pretty much exactly the same scenario the Rams were in last year. It's like deja vu, and the Rams would hope for that same ending as they got a terrific classic 17-14 win in that game, decided by a last-second missed field goal from Darien. Meanwhile, we will see Wilton will walk out of this game with a 6-3 record and probably not much of a chance at the state playoff after that. But they have a game up against Trinity Wright Tech after this for their Thanksgiving game. And we're going to send it down to the field, hopefully at the end of this one, with our field reporter, Austin Platt, yet again. But for now, the Rams are just going to kneel it out. Excuse me, they're going to give it up the gut here.
Trying to get the first there, Ian.
And it's only going to pick up a couple on 4th down. Clock stops with 1:11 left. And let's look at the FCAC standings. Both of these teams in the East Division of the FCAC, New Canaan and Wilton respectively. And New Canaan, heading into the game, already had a better record than Wilton in the FCAC at 5-2. Actually, this is their total records on the season. No, this is their FCAC records, actually. So, New Canaan played one more FCAC game, and they ended up with one more FCAC win. New Canaan is now going to be 6-2 in division play. Meanwhile, Wilton will drop to 4-3.
And a team I see on there that's done great is Fairfield Ludlow, a team that is 4-2 in the FCAC, but 5-2 overall, and pending another result tonight.
Really great blocking setup after that RPO quick hitch from Masterson to Michael Coffey.
Pass goes complete to Michael Coffey. John McDonald with the tackle. Touchdown for the Warriors.
There he is. Masterson drops back. Big pass over the middle. There's Heisey. He's going down the sideline. 30, 20, 10. Boom. Wilton gets back on the board.
And Kyle Heisey gets his first touchdown catch on the game. Coach Marinelli said he was going to be a guy to watch out for. Maybe not a guy to watch out for with 37.6 seconds left in this one with the game out of hand. But finally, Heisey gets on the board. Been great on both sides of the ball, and the vertical threat breaks loose for the score from sophomore quarterback Grant Masterson. His first touchdown pass of his varsity career.
Great throw there by Masterson. Put it right on the money, right in the bucket for Heisey. And now Wilton will try to make it a 17-point game again.
Kick is up. Kick is shanked by Woodring, the sophomore. As the Rams have an 18-point lead with 37.6 seconds left in this one. 38 Rams, 20 Warriors. We're going to get a replay of that one. Just a really great ball. Just cuts the defense up in half. Walker Swindell didn't have enough time to get over there. And Nick Gilio couldn't track that one down. Just finds the opening in the zone. Easy completion for the score. And you really got to give credit to Wilton, even though we're going to walk away with a loss in this one. They came out, and this is a team as one of the hardest working teams. You can see it from their play on the field in the FCAC, and they had a really great turnaround season. But in the end, New Canaan has just been on an absolute tear, and they came out here from start to finish and looked like the team we thought we'd see at the beginning of the year in New Canaan.
And there are three teams in the FCAC that I feel came from not really many expectations to a great season, and that is the Wilton Warriors, Fairfield Ludlow, and Danbury. Three teams that really have shocked me this season, and now Wilton will kick it back off to the Rams.
Woodring just missed the extra point, and he will be on for the kickoff with 37.6 seconds left here. And they're going to go for the onside kick, and that one will just roll out of bounds, so the penalty flag will fly, and the ball will stay in New Canaan possession, or they will probably get in victory formation, nail this one out, and walk home with their 5th straight win on the year, and a 7-2 record.
Great effort today by New Canaan on the offensive and defensive side of the ball.
And the good news for New Canaan is that if they, in that huge matchup up against Darien during the Turkey Bowl, which we will be covering with DAF Media, the game is on Darien's field this year. Even if the Rams can't come out with a win up against undefeated Darien, their shot at the playoffs is significantly higher, and they would probably make the playoffs either way with a win or a loss. But when we talked to Coach Marinelli, he mentioned that if the Rams win both their next two games, which they've done 50% of that with this 38-20 win over Wilton, they could potentially host a playoff game as the 4th seed in the Class L playoffs.
And Ian, of course, you want to get a higher seed rather than losing next week and having to play a St. Joe's, who they lost badly to earlier in this year, or Greenwich, a team that has dominated New Canaan and the FCAC total. They want to get a 4 seed to play a mid-range team, maybe like a Fairfield Ludlow or Danbury.
And that is going to be your final score As the clock runs out in this one all the way down to 0. The final score, the Rams now 7-2 on the year. 38 Rams, 20 Warriors. As the Warriors drop to 6-3 and are most likely out of playoff contention, and the Rams, for the second straight year, after a slow start, clawed their way right back in it. And let's look at the highlight package. It started with Drew Pine, who had a terrific game on the ground, and he got some help from his fellow teammates here on the run. A little bit of a low snap here. Nick Radman had one heck of a punt that was muffed by Jacob Sommer and fielded at the 1-yard line, which led to an Andrew Morris pressure, an intentional grounding, and a safety. That led the Rams a 9-0 lead, and their next drive will kickstart with a huge 20-plus yard catch and run on a really well-designed screen pass to Christian Carson. And then here, Pine will connect on his first passing score of the game to Christian Sweeney on the high point ball from 12 yards out. Pine wasn't done yet, though. Look at this 1v1 ball down the field to Hayden Shin. Just some of the many first-half highlights we saw. What about this shot? Luke Morton, really one of his first big-time plays of the year. His second touchdown catch on the season. And Zach Lapoise, a storybook season for him, a guy who's definitely going to get a D1 offer sooner rather than later. He's been making the rounds, and he's had a terrific year. Drew Pine has really come on as of late. A 40-yard rushing touchdown, probably the longest of his varsity career, showing off the wheels and getting in. 2 rushing touchdowns on the game for Pine, 2 on the ground, 3 through the air, 5 total, despite the interception. And we're going to stay with you for just 1 second, because in just a moment we are trying to send it down to the field with our field reporter, Austin Platt, who hopefully can grab an interview with Coach Marinelli. As we're going to head back up to the booth here. And Dylan, as we head into this game with Darien next week, not we obviously, but as New Canaan heads into this game up against Darien, what are you expecting? How is this team, from when they started 2-2, and again from last year, everyone really wrote them off, how have they really made that jump? What is the biggest difference on the field?
And the difference, I'm not sure if there's a difference, but I'm sure that there's a difference in the position and the skill that they're playing. I feel like some of the games of the lower tier teams was great practice for them in a Brian McMahon, in a Trumbull, and then they proved themselves today against a great team like Wilton. But Darien, Greenwich, St. Joe's, those are the teams that you're really going to have to, think of that FCAC football. That's the 3 teams you think of, along with New Canaan, who's having, I would say, a down year for New Canaan. They always expect to win every single game. 2 losses right now. Having to claw their way into the playoffs is not a position they wanted to be in, but they're taking advantage of that. They're going to have to play Darien a few weeks from now on Thanksgiving. I'm excited, and I predict a great game, another low-scoring game, especially with how cold the weather is going to be.
Well, Dylan, you are unfortunately not going to be here for the big Turkey Bowl coverage. So, I'm just going to ask you right now. You say it's going to be a low-scoring affair, and what do you think is going to be your honest prediction for the game? Last year was 17-14. What about this year?
And I don't like to give a lot of predictions, but I will give mine out right now. I will say 24 to Darien, 14 to New Canaan.
Wow. Well, you think the Blue Wave will ride into the playoffs high, undefeated, and will not be upset like they have over the past 2 years by New Canaan, 3 years actually. New Canaan's looking for their 4th straight win in the Turkey Bowl. Will they get it? We will have all the great coverage with our partners over there at DAF Media, who have done a terrific job all year themselves, broadcasting Darien's game, and quarterback Peter Graham and the rest of that terrific squad, head coach Rob Trufone there. A terrific program, just like the one Lou Marinelli has built up in New Canaan.
Absolutely. Darien is a team that proved to me that they could win the big game. They beat Greenwich away. They went into Greenwich, and they beat them, which is insane. That never happens. Home field advantage is great in Greenwich, and they beat them, a team that New Canaan lost to by a lot last year. Now, you can't compare teams from one year to the next in high school, of course. But Darien is a team that proved to me that they can win the big game, and they're going to do that on Thanksgiving. And I'm not going to try to be negative here about New Canaan, but their defense has been a weakness. And now we will bring you the content that you needed. Austin Platt is with Coach Lou Marinelli.
I'm here with Coach Marinelli after the Rams win over the Wilton Warriors. Coach, it was senior night, so we'll stick with the seniors. We'll start on offense with Drew Pine. We saw a lot of running plays for Pine. What was the idea behind that?
Well, we're just trying to take what the defense was giving us, and Drew was able to read a lot of the things that were there. And we were a little slow getting our offense running, but once we got it, he got a good beat on it and was able to check off and do some good things.
And now to the defense, Chris Carrot too had a lot of great plays today, a lot of tackles. What's been the key for him all year to help this defensive line?
Well, he's been great. He's like the anchor of our defense. He's a guy that makes everything happen on his side. It's tough to run to his side. I think he leads us in sacks. He's been tremendous. But the big thing about tonight is that I think the seniors really put a stamp on this one. It's their last home game here at Dunning, and that's special. And I think that now we're seven. We have 7 wins, and so I think this team has kind of put their legacy, made their legacy for this year. So we play the game that all the kids in Darien and New Canaan want to play on Thanksgiving morning. So it should be great.
And Coach, now a five-game win streak. What kind of confidence are you going to take into that Turkey Bowl? You have a week to prepare for them. What are you going to expect from the Blue Wave in this big rivalry game?
Well, the Blue Wave they're so well coached. They haven't lost yet. I don't believe they lost today. So they'll be undefeated and they'll be all excited. It's their home game, so it's. But it's a game that every New Canaan kid and every Darien kid wants to play. 2 great communities, there'll be a huge crowd. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That will be the next game for the Rams, Turkey Bowl on Thanksgiving morning. We will see you then. Thank you.
So much, Coach Marinelli. Thank you so much, Austin, for giving us those field reports throughout the game. We want to thank you so much for tuning into this broadcast. A terrific game for the Rams. Final score, 38 Rams and 20 Wilton Warriors. Thank you, Dylan, for being in the box with me. Thank you to the entire NCTV crew, especially our technical director, Harvey Duplac, the rest of our station technical director, Cortland Parrott. I am just fizzling out right now. Harvey Duplac and Luigi Savini, our other technical directors. We also have our advisor, Roman Sobolski, our athletic director, Jay Egan, right behind me. And also, Coach Marinelli, thank him so much for really helping us all year on the interviews and doing that interview at the end with Austin. He's really been a great help to us all season long, and he's been a great help to the Rams on the field. Dylan, we will see everyone soon, and we wish you a great night. And I've been Ian Nicholas, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for a great season.